everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Half a Clue Movie Review, a film commentary podcast where every week Philip will yell at us for having not seen every single film in the Asian cinema library. But I'd also like to point out, Philip's seen everything. Everything. Yeah. I think that Philip is actually a library himself. There isn't a single fucking movie that Philip hasn't seen. And I think I watch a lot of movies. I really don't, but a lot of people assume that, and a lot of people assume that all of us watch a lot of movies. But I think collectively, if we were to write down every movie we've seen, me, Jason, and Ron, it wouldn't even add up.
No, probably not.
No, I mean, I haven't seen, there's...
Any big movies you haven't seen? Like, anyone's like, how have you not seen that, Philip?
Yeah, I haven't seen RV2. I'm just kidding. Is
that a real thing?
No.
Yeah. Robin Williams' RV. You're telling me they didn't make a sequel out of that? Like, that just seems like
I remember seeing that in
money.
theaters.
It's a travesty.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that in theaters. Anyways, I'm your host, Blake, and I'm, of course, joined by...
Jason?
Ron.
Philip?
On this week's podcast, we will be discussing who is the best film daddy in cinema history. Is it... Philip, you got to help me with the name.
Okay. Is it Chateshik from The Man from Nowhere? A film about a reclusive former covert NIS operative who attempts to rescue a little girl from a crime syndicate? Or is it a Norman Nordstrom, a.k.a. The Blind Man, from Don't Breathe 2? A film about a reclusive former Navy SEALs operative who attempts to protect his little girl from a drug gang.
So
pretty similar.
These are both. They're both movies about man protecting small child and trying to save her. This is kind of a wide genre, though. I mean, these two movies are
it's been a lot.
Like
over
you
the
could
past
consider
10
you
years.
could consider Logan a man trying to find
Leon
Leon the Professional. Of course, is that the OG one? I'm sure it's not the first one ever made,
but it's definitely one of the most famous. Yeah.
Like Wolf and Pup.
Yes, the Wolf and Cub.
That's
yeah.
the oldest one that I
But
can think
these
of.
two movies do have a lot more in common than just that. They both have a human harvesting aspect to them.
Mm-hmm.
They both also feature I guess all of these movies have the mysterious backstory kind of thing, but they both really feature it very well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of similarities, and they both have a similar thing that happens in their third act. I'm assuming you guys know what I'm talking about. Although it's done much better in Man from Nowhere.
Yeah, spoiler.
Yeah, spoilers. I mean, if you're listening to this, just expect spoilers.
You just spoiled your opinion.
Yes.
Shit.
Oh, I'm just kidding. All right, so... And stay tuned to find out who will win the ultimate daddy competition. Who shall it be? All right, brief synopsis for the first one we'll talk about, The Man from Nowhere, which is what's it called, the Pudijige of daddy films. And Pudijige, for brief reference for people, our few Korean listeners.
Thank you.
Is like a Korean army stew, and that's something that like a couple of them eat throughout the film and stuff like that. And usually in army, anything related to government related, they usually have that specific stew in the film. Okay, so brief synopsis: after a little South Korean girl named Somi finds herself in the crosshairs of some very dangerous criminals, Chateshik, a reclusive pawn shop owner with a mysterious past, tears through the criminal gangs and police officers to rescue and protect her, the only thing he cares for in this world. And his abs. Yeah. What's it called? All right, so...
And his sad boy hair, man. I mean, I know he abandons it, but he's got that sad boy haircut at first.
Yeah.
Covering his eye and everything.
Yeah, so a sad boy loses his only friend and goes on a murder crusade to get her back. It's funny. While watching it, I thought, this reminds me a lot of John Wick, not that I care. But after I did some research, and apparently this movie heavily inspired John Wick, and I was like, that makes sense. Yeah. As me and Jason have pointed out, this kind of movie is just everywhere. Like Taken, John Wick, this, now fucking Don't Breathe 2.
Leon Professional, of course.
Leon Professional.
Yeah. I know it's a video game, but The Last of Us,
probably
my favorite
Last
story in this
genre.
Yeah, it's every like tough guy's dream to just be able to be like, I'm a protector, bro. Yeah. Like I protect the shit out of these kids, and then he like goes to beat up criminals without
repercussions.
Any repercussions.
Murder them in every way he possibly can.
And that's why these films usually do well, because it's like the male audience.
Yeah,
this
is a very like male fantasy for sure.
Yeah. What's it called? All right, so what is your familiarity with South Korean cinema and action cinema, particularly.
I guess The Wailing doesn't count.
Let's go. Besides The Wailing, which we will talk about in a future episode.
Oh, Old Boy.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Same Old Boy. As far as like thinking Korean action, like I think Old Boy's maybe the only one. I don't know. I do want to watch Memories.
I mean, a
of
guy
Murder, though.
beats the shit out of a dog in The Wailing, so I guess that counts.
Yeah.
I saw The Devil, which was fucking awesome.
I really want to see that.
I really love that movie.
We watched like the first half, right?
Yeah.
I heard that movie's really fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, it starts off pretty fucked up.
Wait, did we watch The Good, the Bad, and the Weird, the Western?
Oh, yes, we
yeah,
did.
yeah.
That one too.
That one's fantastic too. Yeah, same director as I Saw the Devil, which is very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's it called? Yeah, recommendation, that film that we just mentioned, and the Villainess, which was you guys all watched John Wick 3, right?
Yeah.
No.
Let's go.
I don't care.
Oh,
John Wick.
silence in the room. Wait. I'm gonna ask again. So you all watched John Wick 3, right?
No.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Just kidding. Yeah. Okay. So. Okay. Well, I guess
It's better than the sequel, I'll say.
You can spoil it. I don't care.
You know the scene with the motorcycles and where John Wick is fighting against other motorcycle artists with the katanas.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was directly pulled from this movie called Villainess, which does that too.
Dude, spoilers.
Yeah, and they pretty much watched that film and were like, and they have a behind the scenes where like they watched it and they were like, oh, how did they do it? And they're like, let's try to do this with money, and yeah. So there's like there's this like very interesting relationship with particularly Asian cinema and Western cinema, where it's like a lot of American, American filmmakers watch foreign films and they were just like trying to convert those ideas into a more.
I think the
mainstream
biggest
palatable
one
thing.
is The Raid.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Still, they can't replicate that. Like
No.
it's still one of the best action movies I've ever seen.
Because stuntmen have rights here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go. But even then, it's just like the dedication they have and like the hours and stuff. And like the raid is like only like $4 million budget or something, and it still looks insane.
Insane.
What's it called? Yeah. So a brief, background on this film. This is directed by Lee Jong-boom. He's known for creating Cruel Winter Blues and other type of films, but this was his breakout movie. It's produced by a heavy hitter, Lee Tae-hon, who made who produced Snowpiercer, and cinematographer Lee Tae-yoon, who did Masquerade, a good Korean costume drama, and the music, and the music is from a guy who was in the musical department for Old Boy, Shim Hyun-jung, and the editor for Old Boy, Kim Sang-bom. So a lot of heavy hitters for this film. I don't know how this film what happened. The script was written only in 3 months, and the first draft, and then it just made its way through like the Korean film industry. And the actor Won Bin, originally the main character was supposed to be like kind of an older guy, a 60-year-old North Korean agent, but because the actor was got script, he wanted to play the main character, and in Korea he's kind of a big star. He was in this film called Taegukgi, which is like a Korean War film. I definitely recommend.
Yeah,
Is he Korean? The main actor?
Yeah, he's the main actor. Yeah, he's Korean.
Oh,
I read an article about him. Sorry.
No.
And like, I guess he's like one of the biggest stars in Korea.
Yeah.
He literally has not acted in a film since this. I mean, he did an animated feature, I think.
Yeah,
in 2018. But I was surprised. I was like, this guy's awesome. And I looked at his IMDb, and it's just like nothing there. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, he does mostly like because Korean people, they usually don't act in like actors, like especially like Korean like they usually don't act in films for some reason. Like in Korea, like they're
they do more stage stuff.
Yeah, not. Well, stage is there, but not as big. But it's mostly their Korean, like the drama on TV and stuff like that.
Well, even like he hasn't done a TV show since then.
He's like he's kind of, I don't know what he's doing. He's off in his own.
He's running a pawn shop.
Yeah,
living a quiet life.
He's like, he's it's interesting. Probably, I don't know if he got like box office percentage because this film made a lot. So he read the script. They revised the entire character to fit his younger age, and they added the whole element with like his wife and pregnant stuff, just center around him, because they were just like, well, this film is gonna make more money now with him. Yeah.
Do you think they took inspiration from Taken? Because that come out like 2 years before this.
Possibly.
Similar.
Yeah, but better.
Man with a particular set of skills. Hey, I like Taken.
Yeah, we'll
first
talk
one.
about that.
The first one.
The third one's the best one. That's when they really hit their
Yeah,
stride.
18
That's a
to
joke.
23 cuts for him climbing a fence. Oh my gosh. Fuck. Oh, that movie just triggers me.
The trailers for the later
You
movies
just don't
are
get art,
hilarious.
Philip.
I know. It's just like, I don't know. Liam Neeson, just should not climb a fence. So yeah, this film opened number 1 in South Korean box office, held that position for 5 weeks straight. About 6 million tickets were sold in South Korea. Estimated like at least like 1 out of 3 people watched the film in Korea.
Wow.
And the whole box office sold $44 million, and the budget was probably like $2 million. So did really well for the company, and inspired a lot of like copycats and stuff in Korea, and also probably influenced
In the
some
US.
films. Yeah, and particularly in the film that we're talk about later.
Yep.
Yeah, and I know this because that guy is a huge fan of Asian cinema, so there's a good chance he's watched it. Yeah, and there's a there's an official Indian remake called John Abraham.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah.
Or also no, starring John Abraham. It's called Rocky Handsome.
Oh, I wish it was called John Abraham.
That would have been better. But yeah, it's called. I don't know why the fuck it's called Rocky Handsome. What's Bollywood? They have what's it called? James Bond Terminator film.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to watch that.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I want to watch. I've never seen a Bollywood film, and I would love to. It sounds like a wild ride.
I think the only one I've seen is 3 Idiots, which is like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's about like 3 dudes like that go through like their entire lives pretty much.
Yeah, that's like the most successful film from India, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. It's like like it's a smash hit there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Speaking of films, I don't watch. Yeah, a lot of Bollywood films.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Oh, there is room for you.
Yeah,
to grow.
yeah. There's room for me to grow. Bollywood films. I've seen a couple, like the one where I forgot they made like a historical event into like the Indian warriors are superheroes, where they can be launched from catapults and they bounce off shields, and then produce no joke, produce soldiers from their armpits.
That's,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And there's a fly
like
that can dodge
Bollywood.
bullets. Just, what's it called? Okay, so let's get into the beginning of the film. So we get started off to it. It starts off pretty quickly, right? It's immediately you have the our main cop, our serious cop. They they go in, they arrest the kind of fat drug lord, and they kind of seize the cops, and then you have Hyojong, which is Homie's mother, steal a large pack of heroin after instructions from her shitty lover, and then she pawns it to Teshik for safekeeping.
He doesn't know.
No, he doesn't know.
doesn't
It's
know.
in
Yeah.
a camera bag.
So what do you guys think about that? Like, it's starting off with the pace.
I liked it.
Did it set it off nicely for you guys? Like, kind of just get right
I liked
into
it.
the
Yeah.
action?
I liked how
Yeah.
it just gets going. I immediately was sucked in with just like the cops like going over the plan. They're like, all right, gotta take a couple guys to bring down the big one, let the kid go, get in, get out, and then an unforeseen other plan fucks up their plan.
Yep.
It was fun.
I think it was they set up the big dude. I forget what was his name.
This is Bear, I think.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. Like it sets up his character well. Like again, like power dynamics. Like this guy was able to take out like 5 of these dudes like easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then later when when the man from nowhere comes in and you see him take him out, it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Like that's immediately shows his level.
I also like the aesthetic immediately. Like, I really like crime movies that feel dirty and gross. Like, that's just I'm a huge fan of that aesthetic, and this definitely feels that when they're in like the strip club, and it's just like, so yeah, I think it's really, really effective. It just gets the ball rolling. It gets things going immediately.
And it's cool. It's like, and I did like also like even with like the camera work too. It was like
Yeah, it was good.
yeah, it was not too shaky. It was handheld. it was handheld, but it was it was stable enough so we always understood what was going on. It's like that's why I like handheld cinema. I think hands down goes to South Korean cinema and maybe Japan, because I don't know why, just watching Snake Eyes just recently, when you give handheld cinema to American cameramen, they have like epileptic seizures. They
Yeah,
go like that's what they do.
You could blame the Bourne movies for that, I think.
Even they
Yeah.
do it way better though. I don't like that. Like even but okay, to be fair,
Well,
even
yeah,
that
I mean,
one,
but they
yeah.
popularized it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's true.
Or maybe even Saving Private Ryan.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was probably the best.
But
like,
again,
first example.
very different.
Yeah.
And what they're going for in that is it's supposed to be disorienting and
Yeah.
supposed to be like, oh fuck, this soldier's going through like shell shock or whatever.
Well,
But you
There's
can
more of a
also
reason.
see what's going
Exactly.
on.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's weird. It's like even that is supposed to be disorienting,
Mhm.
but it's still
It's
more clear the
Yeah.
action than something that's not supposed to be disorienting with hand.
It's probably
Yeah.
because it's not cutting away every 0.5 seconds.
Yes.
Like,
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Liam Neeson going up a fence. What's it called? So yeah, so after that, Oh Myung-gyu, who's like, who is the crime lord in this with drugs and all that stuff. Tasked his subordinates Man-suk and Jong-suk, who are the two brothers and their main antagonists of the film, to retrieve the drugs. Jong-suk, who has like he just looks creepy, by the way.
Is that the one with the
younger
long hair?
brother? Yeah. Jong-suk.
That guy sucked. God.
He
was annoying.
He's a comedian, right? In real life, this is his first.
I could see that.
Yeah. He's like not even just one being to the main guy, who plays Ajashi, the Mr. guy. He's kind of like a pretty boy actor, and he's usually weak, and he's not buff, and he's usually very skinny. So this was like super against type for him. Yeah,
Interesting.
And then so like everybody was playing against type. Even the guy who plays Man-suk, the older brother, he's also a comedian. He plays like kind of losers and everything. So
He plays a pretty good villain, the older brother.
Yeah.
The
Because
younger,
the younger
brother
one is, he's the disappointment of the family. That's like the whole thing.
I know.
they set
I'm
that
not saying
tone.
I didn't like his performance. I just fucking hated that goddamn character.
Yeah.
He was so annoying.
Well,
the casting
he gets
was
the most brutal death.
the casting is like almost spot on in the sense that like he just instantly looks annoying.
Yeah.
Like just the way he looks, his jaw shape, his cheekbones just looks disgusting.
I
Like,
love when he's in the hot tub with all those girls, and he's just being a little fucking bitch. Like, hey, great, but I didn't like him.
And then, remember when he was talking to Ramaran? I think that's how you say his name. Basically the Thai assassin.
Mm.
Yeah, and then like the Thai assassin was talking about Ajashi and like saying like, oh, he's kind of different. He's weird, right? And then
Is he the guy who spoke English?
Yeah, he spoke English.
Okay,
and
yeah.
he's the one with I think the sick blade knife or something.
Yeah.
And then what's it called? The younger brother Jong-suk was like, who cares? His English acting.
He didn't flinch.
Yeah.
That's like his big thing. He's like, I shot the guy. He didn't flinch.
Yeah.
He's like immediately like, I like their little dynamic. Like, right away.
The assassin guy is my favorite character in the movie, but we'll have to get into
Until
it
the
later.
Yeah.
No, well, I don't know. I have a lot of opinions on the end.
Yeah, he may be the only. It's not the character's fault, really. I think it's more just the way it ends with him.
Really?
Like, I have a small gripe
I have
with
thoughts. I have thoughts.
I have
We'll
a
get to
pretty
it.
large gripe with it.
Oh,
but-
we'll
I
talk.
have,
We'll talk
I have
about that
positive
a bit.
thoughts about it, but we'll get to it.
well, you're wrong.
What's it called?
We'll see.
Yeah. So basically, Jong-suk, she finds Hyojung, Somi's mom, and then and tortures her in front of Somi. And before that, they kind of established that Somi and Ajashi, like Taeshik, they kind of have like a bond and stuff like that. But they had already an incident where I think she like stole something, right, or whatever.
Yeah, she
and
like
then-
shoplifted.
and then he didn't back her up.
Mhm.
I audibly went, "You piece of shit."
Yeah, he's just like,
Is that your
super
father?
withdrawn.
And he just like walks away.
I know, super
I
withdrawn.
thought because we didn't know who he was at that point. We didn't know his backstory. I thought it was because he was like a
Oh, fuck.
criminal, and he's like, I can't talk to these cops, and
Yeah.
so he left. But no, he was just being an asshole.
yeah. It's a good misdirect.
It's the most
But
hilarious.
was he being an asshole though, or was he trying to help teach her that
No,
hey,
he's being an asshole. He regrets
can-
it later and says sorry.
Yeah.
But in his mind, was he thinking, "Hey, I think I can help her grow more as a person if she learns how to face consequences"?
I
No,
think he was
'cause
just
he-
trying to
he-
keep his distance
Yeah.
from her.
Yeah.
He didn't want that to be put on him. Like, that's my father. He didn't want that. He's like,
Yeah.
nope.
And
fuck
he
you.
also like once you find out more about his history when we get to it, like he doesn't want to have attachment to anybody.
Yeah.
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 He doesn't want to go through the same, like levels of like tragedy that occurred.
Yeah, and he basically he does say that at the very end too. He's like, "Yeah, I ignored you because I just didn't want to become attached to you." He's
Yeah.
like, "I was just."
Which totally makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
when we find
yeah.
out
And he
why.
apologizes, but yeah.
Yeah, and that has a payoff. Like I do like that everything has a payoff. Except I know I know exactly what gripe you guys have
Mhm.
because I had the same gripe when I watched it in Korea, like when this film came out and stuff. We'll get to that.
I like
I'm
it.
kind of
We'll
curious.
talk about it.
Yeah.
Why I like it.
And okay, so they get it, and then the two assistants to Jong-suk, Duchi and Bear, lame ass names by the way. Duchi. I mean, like it's
I like Bear. It works.
Sounds
He's
like-
a big giant
Yeah,
guy.
Bear works. Doochie sounds
Yeah,
like
Doochie.
douchey.
It's
Or
like
Dookie.
Duchia, Duchi. Like it's. I mean, even in Korean, like it sounds lame. Like I would never want to be friends with a guy named Duchi. Not intimidating at all. But yeah, they try to intimidate him and take drugs, but it goes sideways for them pretty quickly.
Yeah.
What do you guys? Let's discuss the scene. What do you guys think when that first happened? As first time viewers.
I like the fact. I mean, it's not necessarily about the scene, but I like the fact that the majority of the action in the beginning of the movie is off screen.
Yeah.
So he's fucking people up, you just don't see it, and it's just like, when am I gonna be able to see this? When am I gonna be able to see this? Because in this scene, he swipes the knife away, and they're just like, oh fuck. And then it's a shot from outside the building, and like the window breaks, and you could tell like someone's getting fucked up in there, and I think I know who. So it was good.
And then
Work.
just cut back and Bear's just knocked out on the floor.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, he just beat the shit out of Bear, who we had just seen beat up like 5 dudes like nothing.
Yeah.
Let's go. What about you, Blake? What did you think of that scene?
I mostly just was kind of in for the ride. I wasn't sure about the movie just yet. I mean, it was like, this is the scene that happens, demonstrating that your character's got a secret past. I'm already thinking I was a spy. But yeah, it was fine. It was effective.
What do you guys think about the Thai assassin just killing Bear?
I instantly liked him.
Yeah, same. I was like, okay, this guy is the one who's like ahead of the curve. I can see these dudes are definitely gonna throw down later. And yeah, he was cool.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's it called? He has like, and not just that, like that's like his first introduction, but his first like his second, I think his true introduction when he kills what's it called? Which we'll get into, but like the crime lord and stuff. That was pretty gruesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's it called? Yeah. So yeah, after that, like Chong So, like he captures Somi and forces our main character to Mr. deliver. It sounds so weird hearing in English because like I'm used to the like I just saying ajashi and stuff.
Yeah.
But Mr. sounds so pervy, like Mr. Come here, Mr.
Mr.
Or sometimes I think Mr. of like a video game emulation machine because there's like if anybody for retro game arcades there, Mr. It's like I'm losing everybody.
remember,
I think
Mr.
Happy
Robot?
Gilmore.
Mister. Well, when you get introduced to him, isn't she like, yeah, my mom says you're a pedophile?
Yeah, she does say that.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
her mom's just saying that.
Yeah.
Because he's a weird guy that doesn't talk to anyone and has
Yeah.
sad
And
boy hair.
She also has like a bit of the hots for him.
Yeah,
Understandable.
she
The mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was she was like basically saying like, come on, fuck me.
And
Like,
and she calls him a pussy when he's like, nah.
Yeah, understandable though. I totally understand her point of view. I'm like, yeah.
But
Well,
was
she
she
thought-
saying that as a prostitute or as somebody who wanted to like fuck him?
I think she just wanted to fuck him.
Both. Everything. Yeah.
She says like, "Oh, you're pretty handsome. Like, why not take?"
She
me out?"
says you wouldn't be an eyesore, I think is what she says.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what happens? They force Teshik, and we find out that he has become attached to Somi, and to deliver the drugs to their boss that they fuck over by calling the cops over and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Which was a good little twist because I assumed that guy was going to be the main villain.
Yeah, same. I will say this is the part where the movie lost me for a bit because they were like introducing like 3 different crews and then the cops and then
Yes,
this guy.
I
I was like,
agree.
wait, who's fucking over who right now? I was like, wait, hold on a second.
Yeah. I was a little confused there as well. Like I thought he went to the cops at first.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought that as well.
I was like, oh, he's a cop then, because he had called the cops and was like, hey, they kidnapped this person, and then they shows up, and then the cops show up. I was like, oh, so he did call them, and like this was like a sting or something. But I mean, the movie streamlines like pretty much right after that. But like, I was just like a little.
I think
thrown
it's
off.
mostly because we don't speak the language. I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and I
was
didn't
also...
think the translation of these
On the-
subtitles were the best.
No.
Yeah, there was some they
Hulu's-
felt off.
Hulu, Amazon. I think those two are terrible when it comes to translations. Surprisingly, Netflix is pretty good with their foreign film translations. But yeah, I don't know why.
There was a
Yeah.
point where I was like, wait, who's a cop? Who's not?
Yeah.
What? But I did like this scene, and I think this wasn't even really the scene that I was lost on. It was more so in the beginning when everyone was like fighting in the nightclub. I'm like, I don't fucking know. I'm just gonna
It's
watch.
like, wait, who's happening right now?
Yeah, 'cause
Like,
some- okay, in like Korea, it's a weird thing. Like we talked in a future episode where we discussed like Korean cops are weird. Like some city cops in Korea just dress like criminals.
Okay.
Yeah, are they dressed casually? and they kick people in like wheelchairs and stuff. Like,
Oh, that's so mean.
like we don't.
Just a common occurrence. Just
Yeah.
plaguing Korea.
It's like
See a wheelchair dude, a cop just runs and drop kicks him.
I wish there was a Korean cop in Don't Breathe too.
Yeah, I know. In like our recent president or something, the guy who won with a Game of Thrones entrance, no joke.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's you guys need to see that video. But he kind of reformed the cop and like cops and like the system and stuff like that. Yeah, it's been a problem, but it's better. It's better. It's very accurate to our culture. Yeah, I like that they don't shy away.
Hey, anyone out there, any South Korean cop listening, don't kick someone in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I don't think a South Korean cop is listening to this.
Well, if they are.
I'll say this: not all
doing my
South Korean
part.
cops are there, but in just my fair share in Korea, there have been some cops, and you're listening, and you're that cop that I've witnessed do some shit like that. Go fuck yourself. Yeah.
I think that's just being a cop that just leads itself to it's I mean there's a million cop movies for a reason.
Yeah.
There's sometimes
Once
you
have
cross
power in
some
your
lines.
hands,
Yeah.
it corrupts your soul.
I don't know how the fuck we derailed into
What's
this.
it called? Yeah, it's just talking about how to reform the Korean judicial system.
Yeah.
What's it called? Yeah, so,
I'm an expert on this.
yeah. So, what happened is, and one thing when I was a kid when I watched this, I was pretty surprised when Teshik, the main guy, like he doesn't really even fight, and he gets thrown out of a building.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh wow. I just expected him to
Fuck everything up.
fucking everything up, but he was pretty passive. He was a passive guy until the end.
He was just as confused as we were.
Yeah, he was just like, what's
He's like,
happening?
"What?"
Wait, I thought the brothers were working for this guy, but no, I guess not.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
it's
he
just
actually maybe that's an intentional artistic
the brothers
point that he's just as confused as we are.
the brothers are fucking over this main guy, and then I know at this point like him and the guy they fuck over and the main character were like the most famous actors and stuff like that. So in Korean audiences, I was surprised that he went out and he got taken out of the film so early because like, oh, what the fuck?
Well, even as on a narrative level, it is surprising. You expect him to be the main guy. Of course,
Yeah.
they're doing the crossover kind of thing or the double cross, but yeah, it is like, oh, I guess this guy's not the main villain.
Yeah, and then and as soon as the cops come and they open the car, the same car, they notice Hyojung, the Somi's
They
mom.
notice.
Yeah, they were like, oh wow.
Speaking of
They
Mr.
noticed.
Robot,
I love how everyone's just like,
Ooh.
fuck.
Speaking of Mr. Robot, reminiscent of a scene.
Yes.
You know what scene I'm talking
Yes.
about.
Oh my god. I don't want to have. You guys haven't seen Mr.
Nope.
Robot, right?
Nope.
You guys gotta fucking
Oh.
watch all of it. We should
I
talk about
recommended it to you.
Yeah, but
I watched the first season. I never continued,
first-
but
It's-
I didn't hate it. I actually really liked it.
Yeah.
I just didn't.
That show
continue for
gets
some
that
reason.
show. Season 1 is like
The
the
most
most stream.
mainstream.
The
Yeah.
season 1's very streamlined, and then it gets weird. That's all I'll say.
All right,
we
let's
can get
back
back
to
into
this.
this.
What's it called? So.
So Dexter season 5.
Oh my gosh. Oh, we're gonna talk about this.
We'll get to Dexter very
Um,
soon.
So yeah, as a result, her organs are harvested too. Like a pretty like brutal scene. The makeup was quite effective.
Yes.
On
Yeah.
the body and stuff. What's it called? They always do makeup pretty well in the Korean films, despite their budget and stuff. Props to them. Yeah. So he gets arrested, the main character, but as soon as he gets arrested, he escapes, and I love the way he escapes. He asks for food.
I
Yeah.
also found this scene a little confusing. Did anybody else? I was like, wait, what happened? The way it was edited, maybe his escape.
I didn't find this too confusing. They get food. He says he's left-handed, so they
Switch to the cuffs.
take off the cuffs for a second, and he fucks up that cop.
Yeah.
And then that poor other guy is just sitting there like,
The Chinese translator.
I
dude.
know.
Yeah.
He's just like,
Well,
what the fuck?
I kind of like how you don't see it on screen at first.
Yeah.
It's like it just cuts back and it's like, oh, he's gone now. And
Yeah.
everybody's like, what the fuck happened? And then they play back the video footage of him escaping. I think that worked a lot better as a scene than it would have just watching him break out.
Yeah, it's
and it allows you to spend more time with those cops.
yeah,
who I
to
really
see-
liked.
See
I
their
thought they
point
were
of view. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like this scene, like just the way a lot of the choices they use when it comes to action to reveal certain things, like I think it was pretty creative. And then this was even like there was a homage to this. Have you guys seen the Joaquin Phoenix "You Were Never Really Here"?
No.
Oh, I've not actually.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
You Were Never Really Here, or something like that. And
From the director of We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I saw that.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right? At the end, right? When
Yeah.
like instead of showing the action,
It's like CCTV
yeah,
cameras.
pretty much. Yeah. So it's like And then yeah, I think what's it called? I'll be honest, when I first watched this film as a kid, I was like, ugh, I want to see him like break cops' necks and stuff. Ugh, poo poo caca. But but I appreciate it a lot more.
He
now.
was a toddler.
This came out in 2010. You weren't that young.
Yeah, but still, I was like, I was just kidding. No, I was just kidding. I still like the
Philip
film.
still
I was
sleeps
like,
in a crib.
I was like,
just for the
God,
record.
I just want people to fucking get ripped. Yeah, you know, man, because Mortal Kombat came out 2009, so just 1 year later, I was like in the fucking spine ripping mood.
This is why video games are corrupting the minds of our youth.
Exactly,
Yeah.
corrupted mind. So and then we find out, and then they do some investigation, and then we find out his backstory. He was a former covert operative for the NIS.
I love the way they get the information, though.
Yes.
They email the White House and say from the main character's email address and says, "I'm gonna kill you." And then they send all the information on him to the cops so they could. That was fun. That was a funny little joke.
It's like you want to email Obama?
Also,
and he's like, idiot. Do you
Is
know
that the
Obama's
actual
email?
email address? Is it just whitehouse at whitehouse.com?
I don't know.
No,
but
Because
also,
that would not be the email address.
But also, I imagine the White House gets like 1 million death threats
I'm
a
gonna
day.
look it up. I'm sure they have a public email address.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the original one. That one is.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, I was like, okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, it's we find out he's a former covert operative for the NIS, National Intelligence Security for Korea, and what's it called? And they were talking about, they're kind of really building it up, like the different things he had, and they said that some of the operations he had made other people sick with the things that he was capable of.
So I was a little confused too, because when the first Korean crime boss dude is talking to him, he's speaking in like he's like has a translator there, so you can speak to him like in Mandarin and stuff. So I was like, oh, so his character is supposed to be Chinese then, or like he's, at least the other characters think he's Chinese, but is he not? Then he's just Korean.
No, he's just Korean. They just mistakenly assumed
That
Okay,
he's
so-
Chinese.
So what happened
So
is they were
email-
dealing with a Chinese group of people, which was that second group,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they thought that he was one of their representatives that they were
I see,
sending,
I
so they
see.
figured he
Yeah.
was Chinese.
So to email the White House, it's comments@whitehouse.gov.
Can we ask them for a
Yes,
shout
yes,
out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll email.
Yeah,
Biden.
let's email the White House.
Do you think Joe Biden watches our podcast?
We know how to get their attention.
Oh, for sure he does. He just.
Yeah, and it was interesting too. Yeah, I really like how they built them up, like really nice thing. Honestly, if since Hulu or whatever streaming service is making a bunch of random shit, like I would love to see, because that guy still looks super fucking young. I saw like pictures of him and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like doesn't fucking age, like because he has a 12-step skincare routine. What's called, like if they somehow made a prequel series about his time as NIS covert operative, I would love to see that.
That could be cool.
You're about to be taken.
Exactly. Yeah, and then we find out, and then he retired after a personal tragedy where, and this is brutal.
She gets smashed.
Yeah, a pregnant wife in the car. Yeah. I'm like, oh gosh. But yeah, like this guy not just smashes her with any car, like a giant like trash. Oh gosh.
Yeah, that was
Garbage truck.
It was-
brutal,
yeah.
dude. Like it looked so real. Like that was a really
Like they didn't just have a scene where like, oh, you see his pregnant wife sitting in a car. It's like they have a whole scene where they're looking at the ultrasound and they're like, oh, they
he's
hug.
buying
and-
little baby
Yeah.
shoes.
yeah, it's really emotional.
Really
and then
she's
she's like,
the personal
she's waving
tragedy.
at him. I'm like, oh god, she's just about to die. Like she's gonna die. How is she gonna die? And then she just gets crushed
She
by
gets
garbage
smashed.
Yeah.
To the point where her fluids are leaking out of the car.
Yeah,
Like,
that was the
brutal.
touch that did it for me, where you just see like this grimy blood dripping out of the car seat. It's like, ooh, that's
I
not good.
think
Very
that they
sad.
actually did a very good job foreshadowing that his wife was pregnant when she died, because when he's checking out her, I guess like, what would you call that? Her
Wait, you're talking about the ultrasound?
her shrine? No, before
no.
that. He's looking at his wife's shrine, and you see the little baby shoes there.
Oh yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah, it's good. There's a lot of good
Would
foreshadowing.
this
yeah.
movie have been better if instead of, what's the other super warrior guy in this movie's name?
You mean Ramaran?
What if instead he's wearing a mask the whole movie and it turns out it was his dead wife and they like go through his robot?
Dude, that reminds me of that one James McAvoy movie. Oh, do you guys Pig or something?
Filth?
Yeah, Filth.
I've never seen it.
Oh, never mind. I don't want to say anything. Okay.
No, I was making a fucking Black Widow joke.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. There is a
Yeah.
plot twist regarding that. Actually, that's exactly what you say, which I won't say anymore. But yeah, and then not even, and he shoots him, and the guy not only Christian, he shoots the guy too. damn it, and it's pretty brutal. And then like he's bleeding, and like I love in Korea, like they don't just put like a little bit of blood. It's like
It's
blood
everywhere.
everywhere. Yeah.
And he really does sell that moment too, I thought, where he's like literally just screaming and they're like trying to, keep him alive, and he's
Yeah.
just like, like
It's in complete shock.
Yeah.
And I like that
Yeah.
they killed the assassin dude like right there immediately. So it's like there's no real chance for revenge
Yeah.
or anything. It's
Yeah.
just like it's done. It's over.
Yeah.
And I just have to live with the trauma
Yeah.
of that. It's awful.
Oh my gosh. And John Krasinski, look at this, and this is how you fucking yell.
Yeah.
This is how you don't go with your beard.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Look at how this guy does it. Look at the veins coming from his neck and his
Yeah,
head.
no beard.
I do think John
Exactly.
Krasinski would have been the right fit for this.
Okay.
No,
This
it's
is-
just- you go. Oh, piece of shit, John Krasinski. What's it called? I'm sorry, John. Maybe we'll become friends in the future.
I don't know about that.
What's
You're
it
welcome
called?
to come on at any point.
It's not like you've shit on him every single
Yeah.
episode.
I'm so glad that Quiet Place Part 3 is going to be directed
I
by
feel like
a
we
better
have
director.
found a way to get John
Yeah.
Krasinski into every conversation, no matter what we're talking
Yeah.
about.
So what's it called? Because he makes so many mistakes. But yeah. So and then he goes on this whole detective thing, NIS abilities. What's it called? Like almost similar to I Saw the Devil in some ways, where like he's going through.
No spoilers.
What's it
if
called?
someone sees
Oh
that
no,
one.
we're not saying anything. But basically, like it doesn't happen in I Saw the Devil, but like in
Okay.
terms of like the intensity. Well, yeah, he goes through the burner phone. By the way, super disgusting. Just going
Oh,
through
yeah,
the trash can
yeah.
and stuff. And then yeah, he goes to the place. They say no. He of course shows him his lightning god abilities. He's a descendant of Raiden, and then everybody's like, "Oh shit," And then after that, he immediately finds Ducci, one of the worst names in cinematic history, in a nightclub. Yeah, so let's talk about that sequence. What do you guys think of that sequence? I know Miles like texted me like, well, did you text me like right when the scene happened or something?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
texted you right after I finished watching the nightclub scene.
Yeah,
I thought that cinematically that scene was really well done. I love the
Yes.
bathroom fight. I thought it was pretty interesting. Just him coming in, fucking up everybody in the bathroom, and then following the assassin guy who, is the big bad guy who he's, the only real challenge that he has to fight throughout the movie.
yeah,
And following him back out onto the floor and being like in a stalemate of neither one of
God
them want to
damn
open
it,
up.
Miles. You
What?
just took my point.
Okay. But they kind of got to that point where they were like, okay, we're surrounded by a bunch of people. It's kind of a stalemate. We'll do this later, and they just drop a phone and leave.
That's probably my
I-
favorite shot in the movie.
Fuck!
Is them like standing across from each other. I was just like, do it. Like, come on, guys, do it.
God damn it! I watched that movie. And I was like, I can't wait to talk about this.
Well, you still can. Shut the
That
fuck
was-
up.
that was-
yeah. Offer your perspective on that.
Shut the
By
fuck up and
far,
talk, Blake.
That was my shut the fuck up and let me die in peace. By far, my favorite shot of the movie. They're doing like it's like a typical showdown kind of shot, except for it's in a crowded nightclub and they're just staring each other down, and it's kind of like, yeah, you kind of are just like, fucking do it.
Yeah.
Like, and you don't know. I was like, oh man, is this going to end up like just terrible for literally everyone that decided to come out tonight?
It reminded me, obviously, a lot of John Wick 2, when he meets up with Common,
Yeah,
and like they're in a similar setting, and they're just like, all right, we're gonna fucking do this.
Yeah.
But in John Wick 2, of course, because it's John Wick, they do end up killing everybody.
Or,
Yeah.
or like in the first John Wick when they meet in the red circle nightclub.
Oh,
and
yeah, that too.
similar
That too.
nightclub scene.
yeah.
But just that shot of them like on,
One's got a hammer, one's got a fucking like,
and they're just
knife.
separated by all
Or an
these
axe,
people.
yeah.
You're seeing it through the glare of like the nightlife.
Yeah.
I,
good
No,
shot.
I wonder if the hammer was a reference to Oldboy, because like considering they have some couple of cast members, not cast members.
It was a
but-
hatchet. Not
Yeah,
to,
it was a hatchet.
Yeah, it was
no,
a
my
hatchet.
bad,
Yeah,
no,
not
my
to be
bad, not hatchet,
nitpicky.
my
that was a
bad.
homage
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
novel
Yeah.
Hatchet.
Yeah.
Oldboy sequel instead of a hammer, a hatchet. Oh, I would love to see that actually. I'm not a sequel to Oldboy,
But no, I really like the bathroom fight scene. I guess a spoiler for my opinion later, but I think that was the better of their two fight scenes. Yeah. It's just like I like that one. I like the kind of little game he plays when he's like hiding in each of the stalls.
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought emotionally it was better, but there were times during this fight where it would cut around a lot, and I was just kind of like, I'm a little confused about what's going on here. But I've seen far worse action,
Yeah,
so I'm not
I
gonna
get it.
complain
yeah.
very much. But Figured I should say that.
So what? Okay, so far, like before we get into it, what do you guys think of like the handling of the? Oh, actually, no, Blake, give us your take on that scene.
Yeah,
before,
so we don't say what you want to say.
Yeah.
On the fight scene in the bathroom.
Yeah. Just the whole sequence, like nightclub fight scene,
Um,
Ducci being Ducci. You know?
Well, I mostly just wanted to talk about that, but I liked it for the most part. I mean, it's not like, as Jason says, it's not exactly perfect, but it was good enough for me. I feel like the bar for action is pretty low, so anything that's moderately looks good is good.
Yeah.
But I found it intense. I liked it. I liked just the whole. They really made use of that space of the bathroom and the stalls. It was fun and exciting.
Yeah, it's interesting because I literally watched this scene. I had Man from Nowhere on one screen, and I had the Bourne Supremacy. The scene with the newspaper.
You were watching 2 movies at once?
Yeah, I was.
He has to find the time somehow.
It was like what's it called? I was like, it's a long story, but it's yeah. I was watching because I was wondering like why does this scene work for me compared to, even though I liked the first 3 Bourne films, the second Bourne film with when he was the director, I keep forgetting his name.
Paul Greengrass.
Oh yeah, Paul Greengrass was still kind of figuring out his groove for action stuff. Which I think he perfected in the Ultimatum. The
car chase at the end of Bourne Supremacy, though, is fucking amazing.
Yes. I think that's an improvement. But that I like that I just hated that scene because like I'm talking about literally one smack of the newspaper. There was 8 cuts.
I imagine the Phillips apartment looks like the what's it called, the guy from the Matrix with all the TV screens, every movie ever playing at the exact same time, and he's just absorbing all that information at once.
No, my room is literally like it has like a normal like 1080p for like with a high refresh rate for if I do ever play video games, and it has like my 4K OLED, and then right next to it is like a CRT TV, like not CRT, PVM for like retro gaming. So it is kind of something similar, but yeah, it's like, but in that one, it's like way more cuts. It's like not even 1 cut per impact. It's like 3 cuts per impact, and then like from just a lot of different angles and stuff. But in this one, they don't cut every impact. And also, the action is always center frame. While in Bourne Supremacy, it's like sometimes the newspaper is like on the upper right hand corner of the scene or the bottom right hand corner of the scene, and I'm just like, so your eyes just can't follow the action that well. And yeah, what do you guys think of the overall handling of the action from Lee Jung-bum? Like, how did he think he and the cinematographer handled it?
Oh, it was really good. I think the one part that we didn't go over, or it just happened later, when the guy's like running from the cops and he jumps out the window. Like I don't know how they shot that because he like runs through a window, jumps, and like he rolls out onto the street, and the camera follows him the whole time. I'm just imagining some like camera dude with like insanely buff legs to like just to run out with him and like just jumps out. Like that was probably my favorite little action moment, just in terms of like the camera work. I was like, whoa. That was great.
It's probably called lack of a safety loss for
Yeah, right.
We kind of mentioned this earlier, but I think that they did a really good job making choices on what to show and what not to show in the action sequences, because there is quite a bit of action that happens off scene, and the reveal is, in my opinion, probably better than what the action would have been itself. So they knew, hey, we just want to have the reveal for this action. We don't actually need to show it. Yeah. And I think that they did a good job with that. And only the action that we saw was all fairly good, I think.
I agree with that. I was like, what about you? What about you, Jason, Blake? What do you guys generally think about how they handled it?
For the most part, it looks good. There are a couple of like awkward moments where it just does kind of cut away, or I'm kind of confused. But I'd say for the most part, it's really good. Especially, I thought the last fight was really well done.
Yeah, the last fight was probably the best fight. That probably had the least amount of cuts, and everything was, again, center frame, and the choreography was good. Yeah. But yeah, overall, like, it's good action. I don't, it's not, like, it wasn't mind-blowing, but I got what was going on, and I was digging what was going on.
It's far from bad.
Yeah.
That last action scene kind of reminded me of the Crazy 88 scene in Kill Bill.
Oh, okay. I can see where you're going with that. Yeah, but like with
kills like 8 dudes.
Yeah. What's called? Okay, and then going further into the scene, after he gets shot, Teshi visits his former NIS coworker, who's also kind of living like a bum like him, but in a different way, to remove the bullet and give him gun. Which I thought this scene was very important because you see how very invincible, how very vulnerable he is. Yeah, I mean he's quite he's not impervious to bullet wounds and stuff like that. And and they were just talking about literally if it was just 2 shots, like it was just like 2 centimeters above, he would have like died or something, right? Yeah. And when they took it out, I was like, I love that. I love seeing him in such pain and like the teeth and everything is bloodied. Yeah.
I love when protagonists like actually feel what happened to them.
Daredevil was the king
Daredevil
of
is
that.
the best example.
He had to like go to the hospital every time.
Yeah.
Well, he had a personal hospital he went to,
Yeah.
but
Every episode he gets his ass fucking kicked and he's just like on the verge of death.
I like
great.
not to go on a too big of a tangent, but I like that season 2 really plays that up, where like Claire's just like, you're gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
Like, please just take a month off. But yeah, it's important to establish that your characters aren't invincible.
Yeah.
Marvel.
Unlike or Fast and Furious.
Well, those movies are like a
Oh yeah, they're like cartoon. They're whole different thing.
Could you imagine if you had to see Vin Diesel like go to the doctors?
He'd pull it out himself. He'd just be like,
For my family.
No, he wouldn't even pull it out.
bullets aren't my family.
He wouldn't even pull it out with his.
He would just
Just like
drink a
squeeze his
Corona.
muscles and then, hey, drink a
Drink a
Corona.
Corona.
Hey, he'd squeeze it and like pop out and shoot someone else.
Dude, that's how exactly. That's how the Rock. Dude, that's how the Rock in the 7th one. He's like, Daddy's back, and he breaks the arm casket and he goes.
He would literally throw his arm forward and shoot the bullet with like super speed and shoot someone in the head.
Dude, he became Jesus Christ in 9th one. So I mean, what else can he do in the next one? What? So he takes the bullet and he asks for the gun, right? And then the operative guy sounds concerned and everything, but he just he brushes it off and he goes through character transformation, both internally, he's getting his confidence, and he's kind of like fully unleashed. This is where he gets his final jacket, and then his final
Cuts off his sad boy hair.
Yeah. Cuts off his hair. And I love the moment where they're just sitting outside and he's just like, his friend says, "Don't do this. I don't even know what it is. Just don't do it." That was a good line.
Yeah, and then immediately afterwards, and like I said, just a brief shout out to the pacing. I for me at least, I felt like it was paced pretty well.
Yeah, it's got a really good pacing.
Yeah, there's no dead scenes. Everything's always driving forward the plot. The momentum is super high. Very simplified plot, except like a couple of moments with the gangs and everything.
After watching Excalibur, anything flows good to me.
Oh, it's called. Take a listen to that episode.
I'm still in pain.
Every time I watch a movie now, I cry because I'm like, oh,
Miles is crying right now because they're bashing his childhood.
I'm sorry, Miles. That movie fucking blows.
It's that screen grab
I've
of
come to
Wesley
terms
Snipes,
with it.
like,
It's
crying.
okay. It's okay that you guys have bad taste and hate
What's
Excalibur.
the it's like a meme. It's like Wesley Snipes crying holding a gun.
Oh
What's
shit!
what's that from?
I don't.
Oh
even
my
know.
god! I don't know. Fuck.
Is it from Predator 2?
No, it's not even Predator 2. That's
This Dan.
Oh, that's
Glenn
Danny
Glover.
Glover. Fuck.
Yeah.
what's it called?
Ooh.
All
right.
Just kidding. All right, so like immediately. Oh, sorry, my bad. Oh shoot. Immediately he finds the child slaves in a drug manufacturing plant where Somi was actually done, because throughout the film we've cut back to her and we see that she's been running errands for this drug empire, drug lords and stuff.
She's
like that.
an ant, as they call them.
And it's it's pretty sad, intense, but she does kind of strike up somewhat. I guess she just has fondness for killers. And then she
puts the Band-Aid on the assassin man face.
Yeah, which I actually was like,
he got a boo-boo.
Yeah, I was like surprised. And you could tell visually he's like moved by that scene. Yeah. And which will come into fruition later on.
She does his nails for him.
Yeah, which obviously makes sense, but it's just like that's what made you realize that this is a child that you're exploiting.
We're gonna get to it.
I said exploiting. We already discovered that.
Yeah, it's got so but at this point, Somi has already kind of left the premises, and he rips and tears through the entire chemical plant easy, and then and then he meets Jong-sok and ties him to a chair and calls his brother Mansok. And
I love this
that
scene.
was satisfying. Jason, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, he ties him to a fucking chair and he's just shooting him repeatedly with a nail gun while he's on the phone with his brother. And he's just like, "Where's the girl?" And his brother's obviously like, "Who's screaming? Who's screaming?" And he just keeps shooting him with a nail gun. It's great.
And the brother's like, "If you do anything, yeah, I'm gonna like tear apart the gun. He shoots like before he even finishes the sentence.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good editing. That's great
Yeah.
editing.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great. Again, reminds me of Taken. Like,
But
but,
this is
The
better.
car
still
battery scene.
effective. Yeah, the car battery just leaves him electrocuting till the end of time.
And then you guys talk about the how Jung Suk Dai, the younger brother, what's it called? Like when the using the cocaine bag.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Yeah, that was great.
Yes.
Real clever way to do that.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
cuts
Just a-
open a propane tank and then just like leaves a little lamp with an off balance off on the cocaine bag and just cuts it open.
Feels
and
like a
walks
very
out.
convoluted way to blow up a building.
Yeah, but just to like really like it's an ironic thing, the
Yeah,
cinematic.
he was being dramatic. But
Yeah.
it's
Like-
fine.
He really wanted
You
to
could've
torture
just-
him, right?
Yeah, I'd say that reminded me a bit of another movie that has a similar element, Man on Fire.
Yes.
with Denzel Washington when he puts a time bomb in the dude's butt.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
just
oh, Man
leaves
on
him.
Fire, another one. Yeah,
Yeah, he
that's
just
the one.
walks away. He's like, all right,
That's a
see you
Tony
later.
Scott, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. My personal favorite from Tony Scott, but I haven't seen fucking Top Gun, but
Yeah.
I do like that one a lot.
It's called and
Top Gun's
Wait, you seen True Romance, though, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's a bold take. Oh, that's a bold take.
I know, I do really like True Romance.
Okay,
It's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard to say. That's very different movies.
I can see that. But yeah, but and this is my only criticism. This is only my major criticism of the film, and that comes from the same scene. Even though I loved it, literally up until the explosion, but when the explosion happened, I was like, oh, that looked that like when the CGI
Yeah.
explosion. When the CGI when the actual explosion of the building, that's fine. When the explosion was enveloping into the guy's face, I was like, what? Like, you guys didn't need to show that shot. We could have just cut to the building exploding. But I mean, it's fine. It's
That was fine.
Yeah. I was like, it was just one minor quibble and stuff like that. Yeah, there's like, it's weird. Korean people have a bad. It's sometimes they just use real explosions, but sometimes they decide to care for the cast members and do CGI explosions. Just, you guys don't care. They died. There's another Korean person. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I value Korean lives. I'm Korean. You know what I mean? But no, it's weird. It is weird. They usually use a lot of like practical explosions. So when they use CGI explosion, it's very
Noticeable.
prevalent. Yeah. What do you guys think of that? Is for you guys are just okay or just negligible?
Oh, that was fine.
I
with
didn't
it.
really care.
Yeah, it seemed whatever to me. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, it's cool. I
If
like the way
if I
they
like
lit it a
something,
lot
I
with
excuse shit like
like
that.
those blue fluorescent
Yes,
lights that were
yeah.
going on and like the use of shadow. I like that a lot. It's cool.
Okay, and then after that, Taeshik he finds Mansok, but before then we kind of get a scene with the Thai assassin Somi and the creepy ass surgeon, which was like I think cast it perfectly well. You know what I mean? He's kind of this like big pudgy dude, kind of grimy looking, all hairy. And he's just like, I harvested your mom's organs. And then, and it goes to
Yeah, what
the
an
daughter.
asshole. Like,
Yeah,
what a prick.
let's just say when we find out later about him, it's very satisfying. Yeah, and then it cuts away before we find out the ultimate fate of Somi, and then Mansok, when
He's gonna cut out her eyes.
yes, so when what's it called, Teshik meets Mansok, the older brother, and Mansok has like he's basically fishing, right? Which I love. Like it's a little extra touches to your villain, and he pulls out this little capsule with 2 eyeballs and throws it and says that's Somi's eyes. Do you guys believe it was her eyes, or do you
No.
realize no? Like
At that point, I wasn't sure because I know that Korean cinema definitely is unafraid of being...
Yeah,
I got the
same.
vibe in that ambulance that the assassin was gonna save her. Like I
wasn't sure.
Yeah,
I kind of just knew it was gonna happen.
I
So.
wasn't sure, to be honest.
I'll say I wasn't sure either. I thought maybe like I didn't think that she was gonna be dead, but I thought like maybe he'll cut out her eyes. Because honestly, this is like Korean movies have like
They're
taught me
not
done worse.
afraid.
Yeah, they've done worse and they get pretty brutal. So I was like, yeah, I wouldn't be that surprised if they actually did cut out the eyes of the little girl and he's just gonna be taking care of this little blind girl or something at the end. I don't know.
oh, wait till we see the chaser. Some stuff happens to that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then immediately, and I like the close up of his face is just like vibrating with anger. You know what I mean? And he goes on the rampage, and we go on the final action sequence. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's break it down. What are your thoughts and opinions about it before we get to the final fight between? Because I already know that's the one that you guys want to talk about before Teshik and the Ramoran, the Thai assassin.
It was,
It was good.
satisfying.
It was well
It
shot.
was very satisfying. He murders everyone and like cuts them open. He shoots them in the head, and he kills them in like very creative ways.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun. It was violent. And yeah, it was satisfying.
It's very cathartic.
Yeah.
Like you're building up to this moment finally.
Yeah.
These
And
are
I
like-
love the room. I love the fact that it has like these white tiles and the blood really
Yes.
just pops.
Yeah, it's like all like kind of very evenly lit, right? Which
Yes.
they've established beforehand. It's like this, like like white tiles and everything, and the little white figurine. So you do see the blood splatter everywhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, you see
And-
him just like picking everybody off one at a time, using the blades, using guns, his hands. Like yeah, it's cool.
And then even the costume design where like their clothes aren't like the same color as the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see what's happening. Oh, Miles, you want to chime in?
I will say I didn't understand why they were like surprised that he brought a gun with him.
No, they're just surprised how effective he is.
No,
No,
they
because
were like,
they're
where'd
like-
he get a gun?
Yeah, where did he get a gun? I
Also,
was
because
like,
in,
what?
in Korea, it's hard to get a gun.
Oh,
It's really, really hard to get a gun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You stupid American.
That's why in Korea, like, it's mostly stabbings, like deaths and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. No, that's like kind of what I thought too. Maybe they were just like the guns were hard to get to because they're like, what is he? Is he like a cop or something? Like, how do you get a gun?
Oh, what about you, Blake? What are your thoughts?
I thought that's the best fight scene of the whole. Well, I count the part we're going to talk about in a minute. All in the one is one fight scene, but no, it was just really well shot. It was fun. It's certainly the kind of action you want to see.
Yeah, well
Violent as
choreographed.
fuck. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really good.
I was like watching this and I was like, how come this works so much better, but Falcon and the Winter Soldier doesn't? So I was like, I'm just kidding.
It's
I didn't
definitely-
put two screens
Yeah,
on that, but
I was gonna say
yeah.
there's definitely less blood. I mean, I didn't watch Falcon Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
but I can pretty much guarantee there's no blood, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that one was like, oh gosh, it's like everybody's wearing black. It's nighttime, and it was low. It was like low.
Yeah,
like,
there was one scene in that show where I was just like,
I couldn't see, and it was shaky cam too.
Mm.
And oh gosh, let's not even talk about that. But yeah, it's and I like that. It's good use of production design. It's good, like it's everything's well thought out work, well choreographed. Everybody wasn't missing a beat. All stuntmen, died perfectly. You know what I mean? On screen, not in real life. You know.
Hopefully.
What's it called? Yeah, and then you see the credits roll on the obituary. I'm just kidding. But and now let's get to the thing that I know everybody wants to talk about: the final fight between Teshik and Ramaran. Okay, so what are your thoughts and opinions? Because I'll offer my take. And
I'll go first.
Yeah, like my 2010 take, and also like my take now.
Because I
Yeah.
like it.
All right, go Blake.
Okay. I get a vibe here between the two characters that this guy is probably also like a former operative, right? Like this guy
Yeah.
is also like suspension of disbelief. Like our main character, they do establish that he can almost die, but also he's OP as fuck. Like he's action man. He's like almost superhuman in some scenes. So is what's his name?
Ramaran, I think.
So is Ramaran. He's very similar in that sense that he also has these like incredible fighting abilities. I sense almost like a weird sense of honor between the two of them, or mostly on Ramaran's side, where he's like, hey, this guy like is a fucking warrior. Like this isn't just some random person. And you could almost say that maybe in the same way that the little girl, who, by the way, in my head I just call garbage because she says people call me garbage. The whole movie I was like, oh no, garbage's eyes.
Garbage is gonna die.
Garbage dead. In the same way that Garbage was able to emotionally touch Mister,
Mhm.
she can emotionally touch him. And I get the sense that they're both like have similar backgrounds. And I don't know, I just find it as maybe he went down the wrong path and then he's like, oh fuck, this is terrible. So he does the right thing, but also still kind of, because it's very important to note that he can take the easy shot at one point. He can end
Yeah.
everything, but he doesn't. But he also still wants a fight, though. It's not like he backs away and just goes, much like in our next movie, there's a scene where a guy kind of self-eliminates himself from the conflict, but just goes upstairs. He doesn't do that. He still wants a fight.
Very similar beats. We'll get into
Yeah.
that.
And they fight to the death, and Ramaran loses, and it's kind of brutal. But yeah, I don't know. I see it as like a weird honor thing. Like he respects this guy, and he's gonna do the right thing for him, and he wants an honest to God fight.
It was dumb.
Why?
Because he saved the girl. All he had to do is say, I saved the girl. She's in the parking lot.
See, I think
and
that-
then movie like ends. Like, hey, what's the point of fighting to the death? Like you
I think
you
for him-
both
Okay,
kind of
so-
had the same objective there, which is to keep the girl alive.
So when I saw this, I looked at the assassin dude, and earlier in the movie they said, "Oh yeah, he kind of just goes off and does whatever he wants. It's not worth telling him what to do." About the assassin,
yeah, he's
one
like a
of the
wild
brothers.
card.
Yeah. He's like a wild card type guy.
And he's
So-
very sadistic, and he loves violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that he has some form of respect for our main character.
Yeah.
And that respect is basically like, man, I really want to fight this guy, especially one-on-one. And I think that he saw it as, like Blake said about honor, being dishonorable to just take the easy shot with this guy. I think that he respects our main character's fighting ability enough to be like, yeah, I want to kill this guy, one-on-one.
Yeah.
Fair fight and show that I'm better.
That's exactly
And-
what I thought.
And I think that also that might have been the reason why he saved the girl, where he was like, well, there's no point to killing this girl because either I'm going to kill this guy or I'm not going to kill him. And if I don't kill him, then he deserves a reward or something.
Yeah, I'd say I echo a lot of Blake's and Miles's thoughts on that, like why he decides not to kill him and just fight him one-on-one. And I liked that he was like, all right, yeah, like fine, let's throw hands, because like he did seem like on the same level and same idea, right?
Yeah, and he
he's
has like pride. He probably has some pride that he feels like he's the best killer or something, like
Yeah.
at least in this area.
right? So then he's like, okay, I gotta fight this dude. And I think that's like even shown from their first interaction where he's just like, okay, this
Yeah.
guy's clearly knows his shit, and we're gonna fight to the end. But what I found dissatisfying was the actual fight itself. And maybe I've just been spoiled by the Raid and the John Wick movies, but
Yeah.
like those final boss fights with the main muscle dude in those movies, at least, like they usually really go down, like they throw down a lot, and they both really fuck each other up, and it goes on for a while. And usually the fights are, I don't want to say it was like badly choreographed, because I don't think it was, like, because the rest of this movie was so well choreographed. But
It's
it
just he didn't pose much of a threat.
yeah, it wasn't nearly as much of a threat as I thought he was gonna be. Like I expected him to be like limping away from this, like completely fucked up. Like he just basically won by like on the skin of his teeth, right? But it didn't feel as satisfying. I was like, oh, that's it, the fight's over. I was like, all right, I guess.
I agree with that. I also felt, I don't know, maybe it's because I watch movies with headphones, but sound is really important to me, and I didn't like the sound design of the fight. The shink of the knives did
Yeah.
not sound realistic at all to me. It sounded fake and dumb, but that might be just me.
No, I understand that. Like they use like they kind of just like play with the sound design to like over accentuate the sounds, because I know they're using some shaky cam and they wanted to make like things extra obvious.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of the sound design for that fight. Overall, overall,
Yeah, I thought that was the one instance in the movie where I was just like, that does not sound great to me.
Yeah.
But also, going back to what I was saying, I just find the fight stupid. Yeah, there's honor, but like, this guy is now out of the gang because he killed the fucking guy, right? Who was gonna take out Garbage's organs.
Yeah.
The organ.
I
harvester.
just see no reason for it. Yeah, maybe it's honorable to fight, but why? Like, why? You could go fight someone else who you think deserves to die. Like, this guy obviously cares about the girl. He saved her, and they both have the same objective at this point. Really?
Yeah.
I just think it's dumb.
I think that okay. Well, I don't know about they had the same objective. Like I think.
Well,
like,
they
'cause,
both
like-
wanted to keep the girl alive, and that's all
so,
that
no,
Mister cared about.
I don't think he actually cared about the girl. I think that he just saw it as like,
no,
this
I
guy's
think
a
he
real
did,
challenge.
though.
No, I
That's
think
what I'm saying is that
No, he
the,
did
No,
kind
I-
of.
the
Like,
girl kind of was able to emotionally touch two people that probably have the same background. That's kind of what I took from it.
So what I took from it was he saw it like on with the sense of honor thing is that, hey, Mr. is coming after this entire gang and is coming up to their level right there with the gang. And he sees it as dishonorable that they're just going to fucking kill the hostage that they have, that this guy is going after, before he, has a chance to go up against them. So he basically saves her because he doesn't think that that's right, that, he's putting his life on the
Look at him,
line
the
for
moral
nothing
compass.
at that point.
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, it's a strange moral compass.
I I agree with most part of the honor, but I think his motivation why he saved her was because he was touched by her with that scene. Like,
Yeah.
I do think that there was some level of care because there's hints that like he was less than honorable in some aspects in regard because fucking over your former boss by working for his underlings, it's not a very honorable thing. Right, that's like and they
maybe honor isn't the right thing. Maybe respect.
Yeah, and it was out of respect for the thing, and I think his motivation is like the way I took about it is our main character Ajashi. It's just not, it's so weird to say.
I'm just calling him Mister. I'm calling the girl garbage.
Mister.
But let's call it Ajashi's motivation is to kill all of them, get the girl. Ramaran's motivation is to kill Ajashi and find out who's the best fighter, and then I think and that's where he came in. I don't think he cares about the game politics or anything like that. Yeah, I think that's the way I took about it. That was like his whole thing throughout the entire time.
Fair. I just I don't know.
It's like he doesn't care about
the way it was set up. I didn't like it.
I understand that.
So why doesn't he shoot him? In your opinion?
No, yeah, I don't think he shoots him because like
that would
spoil the fight. He would never get answered on who's the better hand-to-hand fighter and stuff like that.
That's a trope in a lot of movies though. Like,
but I mean, he did
or whatever.
I mean, he even purposely aggravated him by shooting the capsule with like the supposed eyes of Somi, but we find out later it's not. Okay. Look, with Ron's point on this, how disappointing the final fight was. When it was 2010, and I was a kid, right after playing Mortal Kombat 9. Yeah, I felt the same way. I was pretty fucking disappointed. I was angry. I was like, that's fucking it. Like that's not lame. Now
I thought it looked good.
Looked good.
Yeah, and I thought the choreography was fine. But again, the raid ruins a lot of action movies for me.
Now, look, to be honest, I still have that somewhat negative feeling that I had as a kid, where it was pretty disappointing. But in the way the film was intended, it's not. There's some action elements to it. It's more like a thriller with action elements, and also it kind of makes sense because this guy he was NIS operative, and if you've ever seen those training videos of people from NIS or Korean SEALs, it's insane. They could kick knives and no bullseye, something like that. It's so they're extremely well trained, and especially hand to hand combat. So to think a gang assassin would have any challenge towards him probably doesn't make sense. So I get what they're going for. Yeah, it's just it's interesting where they went. So ultimately now I don't have a problem with it, and I don't detract or add plus or negatives to that scene. All right, so now at the end, by the way, super satisfying. Mr. kills Mansuk in the car with a bulletproof glass.
That was cool. One thing I don't want to shit on the end of this movie a lot, but one thing that kind of bothered me about Mr.'s character at the end, he just became kind of like the Terminator. He's very indestructible. He was just, he kills the assassin without much trouble. He kills everyone in the room without much trouble. And then he goes after this guy. And the guy's in a car. He's driving away, and he's just walking, stoic-faced, just walking towards him. And I wish there was a bit more energy to him at the end.
I can see that, yeah. I love the
Yeah, but that was great. That was absolutely great when he's shooting through the bulletproof glass over and over.
Yeah, and he was about to commit suicide. What do you guys think? Did you guys actually think he was going to commit suicide, or do you think the girl...
Yeah, I think he was going to.
Yeah. No, I mean, do you think, did you guys think at the moment, was he going to commit suicide before he found out the girl was alive, or no?
No, because I was positive that the girl was alive, but,
What do you guys think?
At that point, I thought maybe not. Because I was like, I don't think it's going to end with him just shooting himself. And then they're like, surprise, the girl's still alive.
That, honestly, would have been kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
It would have been hey, and it would have, Korean films go there. Hey, it would have worked for me.
Yeah, I
think that would have been good ending.
When the girl came out, though, I was like, oh, tearjerker. I was like, oh, man. I was like, this actually is really sad. I was like, fuck. I was surprised at how much it affected me. Yeah. I was like, oh, man. I was like, this is actually very emotional as she's hugging him and shit.
So when the girl came out for a little while, I thought that the eyes were still hers, that were taken out. But she just survived, having the eyes taken out. When I saw the back of the ambulance kind of, shaking. So I thought that she might be, blind now.
Yeah.
And you see her come out, and she has no eyes. And I don't know. So I was waiting for that to happen. So I was kind of surprised when I was like, oh, the eyes aren't hers.
Yeah.
Whose eyes are they?
And she grows
The
up to be
other
the,
guys.
the guy from Don't Breathe.
Oh,
Somehow,
right.
I mean, I will say, I don't know if that assassin guy is a surgeon himself, and I guess was able
No,
to...
it looks super messy too. The guy's face. is all
Yeah, it was
fucked
all
up.
messed up.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true. Well, yeah, they show later as his.
Yeah,
just,
yeah, it's just all super fucked. Yeah, and then, yeah, of course he gets arrested. Of course, like
Yeah,
it
makes
sense.
sense.
Yeah, but then I'll be honest. We'll get into theories and stuff.
Sir, you murdered like 15 people.
Yeah, all criminal. Yeah, but luckily the main police guy has enough of a heart and lets them ride together, and even does a favor where they go at the same convenience store and he buys her,
School
backpack
supplies
with his
and
school
stuff.
supplies and stuff.
I thought he was gonna leave her with the store owner because he kind of they kind of set that up at the be didn't they? He
Yeah.
was just like, she should come
And
here.
I think she might, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
But
we have the
he looked at
theories.
her and he's like, "You're on your own, kid."
or,
Like,
or he'll take her to prison and then he raises her from there.
That's
Just
it,
kidding.
though. But yeah, I think that was a pretty heartwarming moment where like it was perfectly bittersweet. Where like he does the best he can, he rescues her, but he has to he can't raise her and take care of her and take the prison, which is usually a lot of prototypical like daddy cinematic stories.
mhm.
But let's get what do you guys think of the ending overall? Like the bittersweet nature of that. Yeah.
I liked it. Aside from one minor complaint,
Okay.
where he's like, "Let me just hug you one time." I was like, "You hugged her 3 minutes ago."
She hugged him, sir.
That's true.
So
Yeah, no, I thought it was a very sweet ending. I liked it. It was very good. You see him smile for the first time, and he's just happy to have get this girl a nice life, and mostly at the cost of his own. But at that point, he was like, "I'm not living for anything anyway." So
Yeah.
yeah, it was nice.
I like that it is bittersweet because, like, man, this guy's going to prison for like ever. Criminals or not, that's wow. You committed a lot of murders, sir. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a pretty good ending. Not realistic, but I did like that there was consequences, but also you get the kind of end moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's get into theories. Like I really like the ending too. When I first in 2010 Philip had to play Mortal Kombat, I hated it because I thought he was gonna rip the spines of all the cops. This is like I said, I was super influenced by Mortal Kombat. But now I really do love it, and I like how bittersweet it is. But let's get into theories. I honestly don't think he'll like stay long in prison. Yeah,
Yeah, possibly
because
like,
government operative and stuff like that, and clemency and like all the shit that he did.
Yeah, I'd be like, you did only kill organ harvesting assholes. So
Yeah.
it's like,
But-
and you liberated kids and
And they're
whatever.
probably
He
recorded.
did like really fuck up some cops though.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
at
did.
most.
Yeah.
But then I think like it'll probably just be forgiven and whatever.
Could
and
be.
also,
They'll just email Obama. and then
yeah,
Yeah.
and
him
also
out.
I feel like what's it called? Like he probably gets pulled back into the service somehow. Whatever.
Yeah, that
could
would be
be.
my guess. Like if
Yeah.
they were
Like they wouldn't want to waste an
Like,
operative
right
like that
now-
with those assets.
right now, I think he's in prison. But if there was a sequel, he'd be pulled out to do
Yeah.
something, right?
yeah.
You guys like? I mean, Koreans have done like you guys like we talked about Dirty Dozen in a previous episode.
Mhm.
He's gonna be in the Dirty Dozen
I was
lineup.
like, Korea did a real life Dirty Dozen, and it was to assassinate it was to assassinate Kim Jong Il.
Huh.
Yeah. They got a bunch of criminals and trained them to go to North Korea and assassinate either Kim Jong Il or other high top North Korean executives.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and then
How'd that work out?
yeah, no, they all
Well-
they canceled the program. They tried to kill all of them.
Oh,
In
that's
return-
not awesome.
Yeah, in return, the of course trained these killers who became trained to use their killer abilities. Some of them became really good, so they killed their people who were trying to kill them,
Huh.
and then they try to go to like
Sounds like an absolute disaster.
yeah, it was.
You
They
mean
tried to-
real life movie plots don't work out in the
Yeah,
real
yeah.
world?
and then they try to go to a city and try to get their story told, but they all ended up dying. Like of course because overwhelming force. And they made a movie about this called Silmido. I didn't recommend it because I can't find it legally anywhere. So, but yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy. I would imagine that he'll be in something like that. Yeah, if my gosh. All right, so let's get into
Okay.
overall ratings.
The dirty mister.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start off with you, Blake.
I'm not a huge fan of like the action man trying to save the day genre, the man protects child, but it was pretty good. I would stream it again probably.
Yeah, I'm the same. I just feel like I've seen this movie so many times.
Because you have.
But, obviously this is one of the better ones that I've seen. But I'm tired of it. If I had seen this in 2010 when it came out, I probably would have loved it. But I'd stream it. I'd stream it again. I'd definitely watch it again for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty much my same points. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Don't really see myself watching it again. But, maybe if I catch it on streaming, if I want to show someone like, hey, you want to watch some cool Korean action drama, let's watch Old Boy. I'm kidding.
Nah, I saw the devil.
I saw the, well, both of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll say it's streaming.
Yeah. For me, when I first Mortal Kombat, Philip would say shit bucket. What's it called? But now, I'm kind of torn because it did influence like a lot of future action films. But ultimately, personally, it's streaming. Like I said, it's really good. I think it's really great. I personally would never own it, and I can't put it on the shelf. So, but I recommend other people to watch it.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
definitely
Yeah,
recommend it for sure.
Yeah. If you're really into that genre and you want to see something a little more fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't letter grade. It'll be like an A-. I think like super solid. But yeah, what about you, Miles? I know you chimed in a lot. You seem to like this film a lot.
Yeah, so I actually, surprisingly, I enjoyed this film. I've only seen 2 Korean films at this point. I'm not going to reveal what the other one is quite yet.
Wait,
But-
we talked about it.
Oh, we
We
did?
talked about it. Yeah, we talked about it. It's going to be a future episode.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Stay tuned for
Yeah,
the
stay
whaling.
tuned.
Stay tuned for a future episode.
Like a month
but
from now.
I'm not gonna give my thoughts on that one here, but I'm just gonna say I'm surprised that I like this one, and I actually really like this one. Not to the point where I would put it on the shelf, because I just don't think I would buy a physical copy of this film, but I really enjoyed it for what it was. I'm not really a big action fan, and I think that this movie did a great job with its action. It wasn't over the top and exaggerated like a lot of action films. And then the storytelling in it, as well as the acting, were all really good.
All right, so streaming for you.
Yep, streaming
So,
with ads.
All right, it's
because
unanimous.
That's how I watch
Yeah,
it.
streaming,
this
but
is
it is
the
not-
first time.
but this is
I think- yeah.
But this is streaming with high recommendation.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely watch this movie.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely something I'll probably put on again if I'm ever like, I want to watch some action.
Yeah.
For me, this is just a movie I would watch once, but I would definitely recommend watching it at least once.
All right, let's get into Don't Breathe 2. It's so quick overview of what the movie's about. It's a U.S. government executive, Amanda Waller. She assembles a bunch of supervillains: Bloodsport, Peacemaker, King Shark, Harley Quinn, and the blind guy from the first Don't Breathe.
Man, they took a lot of inspiration from James Gunn's The Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it's
But
pretty crazy. 'cause it came out last week.
Yeah, wouldn't they both be in production at the same time?
No, I mean that's just how prolific this guy is. So, what is your experience with James Gunn films?
Yes, I apologize. Oh my god, I messed up on the outline. I forgot the synopsis. It's like I really I don't know why with Don't Breathe 2.
Philip,
I
I want you to know
turned down.
it's okay. All I'm saying is we'll see who's on the panel next week.
Okay, brief synopsis of Don't Breathe 2. After the tumultuous events of the first film, Norman Nordstrom, aka the Blind Man, somehow received his own twisted form of justice and gained the family that he wanted, which is with his adoptive daughter Phoenix, who doesn't know she's adoptive, and his Rottweiler Shadow. But suddenly things come crushing down after a group of criminals try to come in and steal what is precious to him. And many twists follow that. Okay, so brief background on Don't Breathe 2. I don't even know.
It's a weird, disjointed sequel that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We'll talk. Don't spoil your final. Yeah. After the huge success of the first film, it was like $9 million, $3 million, and they made $170 million. So huge return on their.
I really liked the
investment.
first film.
Yeah, and it was really good. So, what's it called? Fede Alvarez pitched the sequel to Sam Raimi, who was a producer on the first one and this one too. And Sam Raimi quoted saying, "This is the best pitch of a movie I've ever heard." And I'll be honest.
Wow.
I'll be honest. I could see it as a pitch, like just as a pitch, right? And like just if you just look at like not the actual product, but like the beats and stuff, I could see why it's appealing to investors and stuff like that. And also like it's very short. And it's like twisting a thing. It's not a carbon copy. So I can see why Sam Raimi was excited for it. Fede Alvarez was originally going to direct this film. And he also directed the 2013 film Evil Dead.
Which really, really, really quick. I'm so sorry. It says the first Don't Breathe, I think, or this one said from the director of Evil Dead. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not the Evil Dead people think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I
they're
mean, like
not
Sam
thinking-
Raimi's
yeah.
attached to it, and then also like the other Evil Dead.
It's called,
like,
the other original is called The Evil Dead, right?
Yeah.
The first
Yeah.
one? Yeah.
Yeah, but it feels a little like you're trying
I
to
mean,
put
you could
Yeah.
They're trying.
We saw
to,
what happened to the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it's and it's interesting. But he bailed because he was, he got a lot on his plate. He's a super hot director now. He did
so hot.
Yeah, he did like something like Calls for Apple TV Plus, which I canceled my subscription for. And he did Girl in the Spider's Web or something like that. And he has like more projects lined up. So he bailed. And instead, he had his co-writer from the first film, who never directed a film before, and to take on the sequel, which has like a very challenging premise in terms of like more like for the audience and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was the best choice, but whatever.
I think he did all right. I just don't think there are many ways to make this movie work properly.
Well, the hardest
Yeah.
part out the bat is I understand that horror movies, like, especially in the genre of horror man kills a bunch of people, they always become about the horror mascot rather than the actual characters. But in this specific case, trying to make him sympathetic is like basically impossible since we know what he's done.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I cannot.
I'll stick with Blake on that
He-
one. I think it's
Yeah.
brutally murders a shit ton of people and also like has a sex dungeon where he quote unquote doesn't rape people, even though it's
he's
I'm not-
artificially
I'm not a-
simulating them. Like it's rape.
With
It's
a
rape,
turkey
yeah.
baster. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
rape.
It's brutal.
He tastes his own cummies.
There is no way to make me give a shit about this guy.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do
this
it.
guy. If hell were real,
Like, in the
this guy's-
moment, I could feel myself like, oh, that's kind of sweet. And then I remember, oh, he fucking raped 2 women
this
in
guy
the
should
first
not
movie.
be allowed
Like,
around
Yeah.
children ever.
Yeah.
God, no.
Yeah. When we get into the film, I have some thoughts about that real quick.
I don't know
But
how you're gonna argue that point.
What's it called? But I'm just not arguing. But then but yeah, another thing is Fede Alvarez was very saddened to hear when he discovered people would rather see a sequel to his 2013 Evil Dead than Don't Breathe, because
I disagree with that,
Yeah.
dude. Like,
No, because he had a Twitter poll recently too, and it was like overwhelming.
or maybe I could see it because Don't Breathe
Yeah.
works like on its own. Like,
yeah.
hey, when they announced this movie, I was like, how are they going to do that? How are they going to make this work without
Yeah.
it being the same movie? And they tried, but it's not.
Yeah.
I don't see it as
They
being
do
possible.
kind of. People always criticize sequels of being carbon copies, and on the other end, people can criticize a sequel for being too different. This one manages to fuck up both, where like there are moments where it's like this is in elements that are way too similar, but also like what the fuck was this even a script that was made for this movie? Like, or to be a sequel? It's somehow both. It's somehow the worst kind of sequel in both ways,
Yeah.
which is odd. That's an odd target to be able to shoot.
No, I agree with that. Let's go. But just out of curiosity for you guys, would you guys have rather seen a sequel to His Evil Dead?
I don't
Yeah.
think- I don't
Yeah,
really
I
care
mean-
either way.
Yeah, I
Let's
didn't.
go.
I had mixed feelings about that Evil Dead.
Yeah.
There's parts of it that I liked that I thought were pretty cool, but I feel like it, threw away a lot of what made the Evil Dead so kind of fun and
Yeah.
special. But like, yeah, if you're giving me the choice between this movie and like a hypothetical sequel to that, I'd rather see the sequel because at least it was.
It kind of set it up too. Like it's like because
Yeah.
the original like Evil Dead, like 5 or something, was supposed to be about Jane Levy, who plays the main character in both of the films and stuff. Like it was about to be her character Mia and Bruce Campbell's Ash, and them trying to find the origins of Necronomicon and just end it and stuff.
I
But
thought he was gonna do just was it not Army of the Dead?
Ash versus the Evil Dead.
No, the
Army of Darkness?
Army of Darkness.
Army of
Darkness
Darkness.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if he was gonna try to do an Army of Darkness, I would have been interested to see that. Like
that would be cool.
that would have been fun. Like I like
Yeah.
Army of Darkness a lot, but like
Yeah, yeah.
like hey, fuck it. Like I don't know. It's not. I don't think it's that sacred.
Yeah, I definitely liked Don't Breathe more than Evil Dead.
Yes.
yeah, I agree.
I
with
agree.
that.
But
Yeah.
like in
But-
terms of sequels,
I'd rather see Evil Dead. It
Yeah.
just makes more sense too. They just
Yeah.
like leans. There's
Or
more,
just leave
more
both of them
mythology.
alone.
I was curious because you also have Bruce Campbell say "groovy" at the end of that movie.
yeah.
That's a sequel right
That's
there.
a sequel right there. I just wanted to see him back, but we got the Ash vs Evil Dead series.
Anyway.
But then, and then production was pretty tight on this film. They shot this quietly during the pandemic. Don't breathe. August 2nd, 7th to October 8th in Belgrade, Serbia, which is
I thought it was Siberia.
No,
What?
Not Siberia. Serbia, which is interesting. Like
I would not have
Wait, they
guessed that.
shot it in Serbia?
Yeah. Huh.
So the other day, I didn't know this, but the other day I was actually saying it feels like it should have been set in Russia. So I guess that kind of makes sense now that they shot it in Serbia.
Somehow Detroit looks
Yeah.
like Serbia. Yeah, but it's weird. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so yeah, let's just get right into the film. Okay, so Norman Nordstrom, like he lives with this 11-year-old adoptive daughter Phoenix and his Rottweiler Shadow in Detroit. Phoenix, we kind of start off with very quick rushed introduction to her character, which is just, by the way, terrible CGI of like because there was like a wide shot and then it's just like a plate and it's just a CGI body just like laying down.
Yeah,
like, on
it's
the floor.
essentially the same exact shot from the first movie.
Yeah, pretty much. And then
Yeah,
so
well,
it's-
they're trying to draw a parallel to be like, remember?
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
didn't like that because if it's,
I didn't
especially
like
with
it either.
especially if it's a new director, right? Like you would think he would want to put his own stamp.
I get
Yeah,
why
and
they
I-
did it. It just didn't really.
At first, I thought they were trying to like retcon the ending to the first one or something. Like there was a little girl in there the whole time or something like that. I was like, oh god. But
Yeah,
Does it say
They
8
didn't
years
do that.
later?
yeah, and then right after that it says 8 years later.
She doesn't look like she aged 8 years.
No, she didn't.
Other thing, this is a weird thing to be hung up on. Is this supposed to be the same dog?
Yeah, it's the same dog.
How fucking old is this dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's old. It's old as fuck. It's immortal until certain moments. We'll talk about that. But yeah, so she was rescued from the burning house from Norman, and who claims her birth mother died in the fire. It's already dubious based on Norman's previous history. And we find out, Norman has like one friend, like Hernandez, a former Army Ranger.
he says it like she died in a fire.
Yeah, like, I remember, like, I like the voice he had because considering the damages he suffered in the first film.
Well,
Yeah.
his voice was
His-
like
it was
that in
already
the first
fucked up.
Yeah, it was already
Yeah.
fucked up. It's way
Yeah.
more fucked up in this one.
Yeah, I don't know why. It made me laugh when he was talking.
I don't know, I liked his performance. I
No,
think
he's-
he's the
yeah,
best part of
Stephen
Stephen
Lang.
Lang is awesome. I
Yeah.
like him a lot, but
And-
that just made me giggle.
How
What's
is he?
called-
I don't understand. I mean, this is nitpicking, but whatever. I don't know how he's even pulled off this whole operation. Like, did nobody ever go looking for the girl? I know she's like the child of, drug
Yeah.
people, but like,
I
wouldn't
assume that-
someone fucking like? There's databases and shit. Wouldn't she be like on missing people
Well, she didn't.
posters?
She was
Honestly?
homeschooled the entire time.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
like also she would go into public and would Hernandez never be like, odd. I don't know. It
I-
just,
I
to me
just-
seems
I feel
unrealistic.
like drug addicts like that have kids and just have them grow up in a little meth house. I wouldn't be
not have birth
surprised if
certificate.
she was not like born in a hospital. Like they just like
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens
Here's
a
a-
lot
here's
in
a
slums.
baby.
Like that, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like they're just like born in slums with no birth certificate.
Yeah.
They don't get. Sometimes they don't get birth certificates until their 20s. once
yeah.
they're
There's like
out in public.
there's a phrase, I think it's called missing, like missing people, which are people that you don't even know are missing because they were just never accounted for. Which is like I could totally imagine this girl is one of those people.
Yeah, I could buy that.
Are we supposed to be sympathetic in the beginning? Like it's like
Eh,
I mean, I
don't
know she's from a better place, but also, I don't know, man. You should not be around children.
Yeah.
And also, like, purposely, like, keeping her instead of... What he should have done is take her and been, how horrible, and then walk to, like, I don't know, social services and been like...
His character would not do that though.
No,
I know.
Yeah, like
he's
in,
an asshole.
in the mindset of that character was obsessed with getting a daughter.
Yeah, I
Right.
know.
So let's get that. Okay,
Oh, look,
let's go real quick into everybody's thoughts. But real quick, very very quick, like a couple sentences. Okay,
Look.
don't breathe. Okay, so Blake, what's your thoughts and opinions on don't breathe?
The first one?
Yeah, the first
How do you
one.
know she was there? Sorry, real quick. How
was-
do you know she was in the street?
What's it called?
Yeah, that is kind of a good
Wait, what
point
do
to
you mean?
me. He was just...
Blind.
Oh no! Remember he was like just what's it called? Like wasn't he? Didn't he have a stick or something? And he was just like
I don't remember seeing
He
that.
probably
honestly.
walked up and
Yeah.
was like, perfect.
yeah, it was like a stick or something like that.
The dog sniffed her out, and he was just like, "I'm taking this home."
Yeah, probably. I imagine something like that. And this guy has like, oh yeah, we'll get into superhero hearing fucking
God.
abilities.
God.
Even the first one stretched credibility quite a bit.
This
but
might be too early, but like I feel like he should have just been the villain in this one, and then like the. We'll get into it. There's an alternate version of this movie in my head that works. A little bit better.
Fede Alvarez says that he's not an hero, he's not an anti-hero, he's anti-villain.
Okay.
He's a villain.
Yeah, anti-villain.
He's a villain.
Yeah,
He's
and
a
I'm like,
villain.
oh okay, that's cool.
But talk about the first movie though. I really enjoyed it. That was one that like I was surprised how much. Well, I don't not exactly, but like I saw the trailer. I was like, it looks pretty cool. And then I remember walking around the theater being like, holy shit, that was so fun. Like just again the work on the sound, like the way they focused in like on his senses and I felt it was more clever. Like it was just a lot of use of just him being a blind dude who's like basically a super soldier who's just hunting down these dipshits, and that was I don't know, that was cool. And this one I just feel like they didn't do that. So
yeah, no, what about you, Jason?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Oh, like thoughts and opinions on Don't Breathe, the first one.
Oh, I really like that movie. I watched it yesterday, and it still holds up. When I first saw it, I was not this happens a lot with horror movies for me. I don't believe the hype of horror movies until I see them, ever. Yeah. So I wasn't expecting much from it. Yeah, like just the way it was shot. I love the long takes in that movie. They really work. Okay, so the beginning was a little rushed. It didn't really work for me. I mean, like it set up the characters enough to know who they are, but not enough to care about them. Yeah. Then everything in the house is fucking awesome. And then once
they leave the
house, it starts to dip for me. Yeah. But like everything in that house was great. No, it was great.
I agree with that. I think like for the first film, I actually think okay, the trope stuff, like I think once again, Fede Alvarez, I don't think English is his first language and stuff like that. So and you can kind of tell, but I think like he has like a great idea. Him and this writer, and who's the director of this one? Rodo. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his last name. They have a really good concept and idea of premise and concepts and plot beats, but when it comes to dialogue and execution of characterization, it suffers, and honestly I think you can kind of tell like it's
my issue with like the characterization of that movie was the beginning was too short. The movie's only 88 minutes. Like they could have given us 10 more minutes to have us learn about these people. Yeah, and I would have liked it a lot more.
Can I give my opinion? Because I kind of get into that too. Yeah. I actually watched it for the first time today. I did back to back. I watched the original Don't Breathe and then immediately watched Don't Breathe 2. I don't know. I mean, it could also just be a result of when the fuck did this movie come out? 2015. So it's years and years of people talking about how good it is, and it's been on my watch list, and I wasn't too impressed. And it's mostly because I feel like the characterization was lacking. I didn't connect to the characters at all. I found a lot of the movie to be predictable. Like, I felt like every scene I was like, and then this is going to happen. And then this is going to happen. And then this is going to happen, which would have been okay.
The turkey baster was predictable?
Yeah.
Not that, but there was just a lot of things that I saw coming. I didn't see the turkey baster coming, but immediately when there was like a prisoner underground, I was like, okay, so she's going to accidentally die, and one of these characters, probably the girl, is going to be the new prisoner, and that's how the movie will end, and she will or will not break out. I don't know. So I just don't love it. To me, it feels like you ever get like an In-N-Out grilled cheese sandwich? It's like everything but the meat. Do you know what I'm saying? That's how I felt about the first one. I just couldn't connect to it because of the lack of characterization, and it really suffered on that end for me. And also, I know horror movies love doing their false endings, but holy fuck, there was a point where I was like, just end. Like, things kept happening that would signify the movie's about to end, and then it would go on another 5 minutes, and it happened like 3 times in a row, and I was just like,
I just want to say one thing that, like, I remember
I feel like you probably, I feel like you weren't in the right mindset if you were just trying to get both these movies out of the way today.
No, it's not even that. Like, I've done that before.
Also, I think the first film, I completely agree with all the predictability and stuff like that. But for me, the strengths of the first one, why I liked it, was not the script, not the story. Though
there is good stuff in it. I'm not gonna discount. I really, really, really like how the first one's shot. Like, the camera's so fluid and it's just gliding through this house.
Were you watching it on your phone?
No, I was not. And I liked the audio a lot. There's a lot in the first movie I liked. I think it's a very well directed movie. I think it's a very well edited movie. The beats and the lack of characterization really just made me not go, it's something I'm never gonna watch again for sure.
I remember this one being a very fun. The first one being one of my favorite theater going experiences, because a lot of the people in the theater were just reacting just like, you know, with all the beats and shit, like the turkey baster scene, I've never heard an audience react that way, where it was like half the people were like, oh, like other people were like, oh god, like it was just such like a legit reaction in that moment.
I saw it twice in theaters, and the first time I was just like, oh god.
This is
and
our
then
hero
the
now.
second time I saw it, I intentionally turned around because I was sitting closer to the front. I turned around to look at everyone's face.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, ugh!
Yeah.
Like, it was so
This
great.
is our hero now.
Yeah, and I think what's called, this might be that might also influence our opinion. So I also think that this film benefits the most from like a theater like atmosphere.
Yeah,
and since I mean, even if you like, no matter how like you watch it at home, it's nothing comparable to like the big screen. So I can see why, if somebody hasn't watched it in theaters and watching at home, the effect will be diminished. Kind of like Dunkirk. Even though I love that film, the effect is diminished
that
at home.
needs to be
Sucks.
watched in a theater.
Okay, so Blake, can you go out of the room right now? Okay. That's it. What about you, Miles? Have you seen what are your thoughts, real quick?
So I haven't seen the original Don't Breathe
Wait, what?
because I intentionally did this. I was gonna go and watch Don't Breathe 2 first because sometimes I like to see if movies no. So no.
I was just kidding.
So-
Okay, go on.
So there's this big problem with movies where sequels either don't stand on their own or sequels are ruined by being a sequel. And if they were their own film, sometimes they could be better than if they were a sequel. So I wanted to go into this movie seeing, hey, does this movie work on its own? And basically like see if I enjoyed the movie as its own movie. And then I was going to watch Don't Breathe 1 after, but after watching Don't Breathe 2, I gave up and said I didn't want to pay the $3.99 to rent it.
Okay,
I will say that like completely ruins the point of a sequel. Like, I don't know, like the nature of a sequel. Like for me, good
to build off
sequels.
the narrative of the
Yeah,
first one.
exactly. Like all the best sequels, I think, like don't necessarily stand on their own. Like Godfather Part 2, probably the most notorious one. Like that one really doesn't work unless you've seen the first
one,
movie.
yeah.
So
Well, it's okay. This one doesn't do a good job of building.
I
on
know
the
it's
first one.
not. It does not. I'm not trying to defend
Yeah.
this movie exactly, but
You know
I
the
will
weird
just
thing
say
is,
that
if you haven't watched the first one, you could still technically
Yeah.
relatively understand and stuff like that.
I know. Funny enough,
understood the
this one
movie.
probably works completely fine.
Yeah.
The most completely
You're
fine.
probably
I
more
will say-
sympathetic towards him too.
Actually,
Yeah.
no, I was. I didn't know about any of the horrible shit that
Turkey
he did
baster rape.
with like with the turkey baster and stuff. So I did have some questions in this movie. I found it to still be a horrible movie and that they fucked up a lot of stuff on it, but it stood on its own. I will at least give it that. And I do want to give one commendation to Don't Breathe 2, and that was the trailer. And they did something that not enough movies do, where all the clips that were in the trailer for this are from like the first 20-25 minutes of the movie. So it
That's
doesn't
not
spoil the
true.
entire movie.
Hmm.
Yeah, it is.
There's a shot of him in the water.
Yeah.
in the-
Yeah.
That was
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
whatever.
What's it called?
But they didn't spoil the entire movie through.
That
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
pretty curious perspective. Honestly, like, yeah, now that I'm hearing it, it is interesting. Like, if you haven't watched the first film, this will be a different experience for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a very interesting, challenging matter on this one.
Also, I'm sorry, they try to make the dog more sympathetic in this one. He's like a fucking evil monster in the first one.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh.
Yeah, in the first
No,
one,
I
I'm
can
like,
always
kill
be
the fucking dog,
No, I
dude.
can always be sympathetic towards them.
In the
I agree.
yeah, I am so against dogs like dying. Like the wailing, I could never get over the fact that the main character kills a dog in that. And like in the first Don't Breathe, I'm like, fucking shoot it.
Yeah, well, in the first one, I kind of understand because, you know, basically it was trained to follow its master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the reason. I have no grudges against the dog.
Hey,
I just
no offense, but if a dog is like coming at me that way, it's no hold bars, dude. I'm trying to like take that dog down. If it's coming to kill me or like seriously maim me,
So just don't
I'm
try to
choking
rob
it
a
out,
blind
dude.
man. Never rob a blind
Not
man.
gonna
You'll be
lie,
fine.
I just can't. I will just be like, you can kill me. I'm just like, I just can't. I don't know. I feel bad about punching dogs. I never punched a dog before, so, and I
Okay.
never will in the
That's
future.
good.
Thank you.
What's it called? What's it called? So I'm okay with the dog stuff. And, we'll get
everyone
to
raise
that.
your hands if you ever punched the dog before.
Miles. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, besides the director, everybody is pretty much the same from the first film. Cinematographer Petro Luke, who I think is the MVP of this fucking film,
There's still
Rogue
shots in
Banos.
this that look pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like the water shot. That was
Yes.
Yeah, and Rogue Banos, who like it's a huge pedigree of scores. Like obviously, Don't Breathe, Evil Dead, but he also did like His House, Sexy Beast, The Machinist, stuff like that.
Oh, I love Machinist.
Yeah, he's a really good composer, and I think he did a good job with this one too. And John Kovic, who was he's this one you guys are probably like he was an assistant or additional editor for Pig.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah. So you
Never
know,
seen it.
yeah. What's it called? So yeah, it's some good stuff. Yeah, like we just go back into the film. There's not much to the plot either way. It's like okay, at least for my opinion. So let's talk about the protagonist thing, right? So they do the Terminator 2 approach, or a lot of other films have done this too, but not just Terminator 2. But that's the most popular example where they flip the premise on its head, and the antagonist is now the protagonist or someone or the hero,
Yeah.
right? And honestly, I was okay with that for this one. Like I was curious on how am I making more thematically interesting, complex, or challenging.
Well,
Look, I mean, like, look, and then you guys look like Scorsese. Most of his protagonists are like drug dealers, criminals, wife beaters, rapists, murderers.
most directors aren't Scorsese.
Yeah, no, I know
That's
exactly.
the
Monsters.
big thing.
And then I don't think this director handled
Name
it
one
well.
director that's not Scorsese.
This
So
guy.
I've seen where they made rapists and murderers like sympathetic, but it's okay to make them sympathetic, but not condoning their actions. There's like this nice tightrope that you have to do, which I don't think they did in this one.
Yeah, and it's
But yeah.
also different when you don't like, show don't tell. So like, if you see the things that he did in the first movie as opposed to like a shitty Scorsese character, there's a difference. If we
And-
saw,
Sorry.
what.
No, I was going. I'll say it after.
Like, if we saw, like, a character in a Scorsese film shove a turkey baster up a woman and try to impregnate her, I still wouldn't like him,
Yeah, I'll say it like Joe Pesci's characters from like Casino when he's like crushing the dude's head in the anvil or whatever and stuff like that. It's like you're ready to like watch him die. You're like, okay, this guy definitely deserves to die
Yeah.
at some point. And
Also, with Scorsese too, though, he does a good job of not making them heroes, and not even sympathetic, but also he does a good job of you start them out at a place where you don't really know everything about them yet. And throughout the movies, you grow to be like, wow, these people are just like complete pieces of shit. And The Irishman, especially, that one really takes you through the journey of just.
he's just a guy
He's
like,
kind of
he's just
sympathetic
stealing
in the
some
beginning,
meat. Yeah.
but like there comes a point where you're like, oh man, this guy's awful. And that's all of his movies. Scorsese's very, very good at slowly reeling you into the true nature of his characters. But this off the bat, we've seen the last movie. We already know all the terrible, awful things that he's done.
And I would say even like something like Terminator 2, it's very different because
It's a
he's just a
different model.
robot.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
sorry,
he's just a
one
robot
important
that's
thing.
just programmed to kill and then now programmed.
Yeah, it does what it's
And
programmed to do.
one
Much
important
like
thing.
the dog.
One
Like,
important thing. One important thing too, distinction for Scorsese. Also, his characters are never portrayed as heroes. They're always like doing something that's not
Yeah.
heroic. In
Yeah,
this,
that's what I
in
said.
in this, he's specifically trying to kind of do a heroic act, I guess. I mean,
Not really, because like he's
It's still pretty
no.
selfish.
He's I disagree with that because okay, so let's just
well,
let's just
I know
rush
what you're
through
gonna
the-
say.
let's just
yeah.
rush through the plot and then and this one
Speed
you
run
know,
to the plot.
Yeah, we're not gonna go right by down because I feel like there's not much.
This
plot.
movie had a plot?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, Hernandez takes Phoenix into the town where, they visit the old house. She drops flowers because she thinks her mom is dead, but she meets this creepy gangster that follows Hernandez and Phoenix back to Norman's house. That gangster has more gangsters following him. He's a leader.
The least intimidating gangster ever.
I know. Okay, we'll get to that for a bit when we get into like
He's a,
threats and villains and stuff.
We're talking about the main one, right? What's his fucking name? I already forgot it.
I don't know,
He's
he's
Raylan. He's Raylan,
Raylan.
played by James Sexton or James
Really quick, because I want to make a point.
Brendan Sexton.
I've always thought that Zachary Levi, who's the guy you hate? John
Krasinski.
Zachary Levi, John Krasinski, and Michael C. Hall all kind of look alike, and this guy's kind of in that circle
I don't
too.
think
No,
any of them look
no.
alike.
Yeah,
But
they're
that's
way better looking.
ridiculous.
They're way better looking.
I was whatever. Let's not go down that road.
Yeah. Okay. What's it called?
wait, they're better looking than who?
Raylan.
Then Raylan.
Oh.
Brandon Sexton the
Oh, you're
third.
taking
I'm
a
not
dig at John Krasinski.
Yeah.
Yeah. John Krasinski. I mean, he's got a.
I would say I
No,
have crossed. I've
John
Cross wires with
Krasinski-
John Krasinski and what the fuck you say? Zachary
Zachary
Levi?
Levi, John Krasinski, and Michael C.
Zachary
Hall all
Levi.
look alike.
Levy.
Not
They all look
Levi.
exactly alike.
No, not Michael C. Hall.
No, yeah.
Anyway,
not
anyway,
Michael C. Hall. What?
Let's keep going. So then he
You
finds
need to get your
the.
eyes checked.
He has like one of the most uncomfortable scenes ever with the girl in the bathroom.
Yeah, he like gets
Get the
her
fuck
hair,
out of there.
hair and stuff, and he leaves. But yeah, they follow them back to the house. They ambush and kill Hernandez, pretty brutally with a hammer and everything.
Kind of for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was
They didn't really
thinking,
need to.
Honestly,
No.
I think that ruined the movie right there. That scene ruined the movie, honestly, for me.
well,
Because
it
it fucked up all the character motivation. It fucked up stuff they were trying to do later on with making you question whether these guys who are coming in are actually the good guys.
Yeah, 'cause they
and they're
just killed an
rescuing this girl.
innocent-
Yeah,
yeah.
I mostly had a
All
gripe.
they had to do was move, and like
Yeah.
she'd be out of the way.
I had a huge fucking gripe with it too because I remember thinking, I wonder if they're gonna kill them. And I was like, well, that'd be dumb. There'd be no reason to do that. And then she then like he's in the back of her truck somehow.
Yeah,
right?
I guess the only thing is because maybe she did witness that. She did witness Raylan
Yeah.
with the girl and stuff like that. So if they went missing and stuff, she'll be able to pinpoint or like on the thing. So getting rid of witnesses. So that's the thing. But thematically and also like in terms of just like narrative sense suspension, of
it
this
definitely
movie,
hurts it.
It hurts it because like when we get to the plot twist, so let's just get to this.
If we
real
get to the
quick.
point where we're gonna like give our alternative versions of this movie, I would think her character could have been used way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, the gang, they kill Shadow. So, automatically, this film went from whatever potential rating to shit bucket. Hey, I'm sorry, it's spoiler alert. Norman finds Shadow's dead body and the bullet that pierced him.
No.
Yeah, and I was like, I think Ron saw my reaction. I was like, oh! I like Rottweilers and I like dogs in general. So
I was
that
like,
was pretty
Shadow,
hard.
you were so effective in the last movie.
Yeah, you were such a scary monster in the last one.
Yeah,
Well, fuck, this takes place like at least
This
9
is just
years.
another way for them to try to make us sympathize with
Yeah,
the blind.
absolutely.
It's a classic.
And it doesn't work.
Sure,
like
sure.
I felt
Yeah.
bad for
They
the
gotta
dog, not for
replace the
him.
dog.
He shouldn't have a dog. He shouldn't have a kid. He shouldn't like.
He should be in prison
Yeah.
for the rest of his life.
There's
Yes,
like the
yes.
writers' move. What is
Wait,
it?
okay,
Save
let's
the-
Pet
Oh,
the dog.
pet the
Let's
dog.
a dog.
Let's
Dog.
speed run through this plot. This is where this turns into a 3-hour conversation. But so the game breaks into house, try to find Phoenix. Phoenix narrowly avoids them and hides in a secure container downstairs.
Which was shot really well, by the way, I thought.
Yeah,
That was
a
actually
great-
a pretty fun sequence of her just like dodging them and being all like ninja
Yeah,
and shit.
they-
And I was like, okay.
They were pretty reserved, I guess, with her. I thought she was gonna be like action little girl and like
She's gonna be like
help kill
R-rated,
them, and I was
Home
just like, I
Alone.
don't want to see that. I don't want to see
I
that.
thought it was
Which
gonna
I'm
be
glad
like,
they did it.
They
Like
did.
Logan.
until the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we'll get to. But and then they break into the house, and then we'll get into details of the inside the house. But I'm just trying to speed around the plot so we could just have a general discussion about it. And they, different incident happens. The blind man tries to fend them off, but then the creepy gangster says, "My name is Raylan," and reveals the truth that he's actually Phoenix's dad and I'm like
Because of the hair.
yeah,
Pikachu
cool.
shocked face.
Yes. What's it called? And her real name is Tara, and Phoenix is taken away. Raylan burns Norman's house down along with Raylan's dog. But Norman escapes with the dog and finds Hernandez's dead body with his superpowers, which we'll talk about. And he's en route to Raylan's criminal hideout. Phoenix/Tara and her mother meet. And her
Name is
mother.
Phoenix. That's so
This,
stupid.
this for me, this whole plot point is what really made me hate this movie.
Yes,
I
Well,
agree.
we'll talk about that. But yeah. Like, look, let me
well,
just-
we need your heart.
Yeah, so basically, you think that they're rescuing the daughter back, but instead we find out the mom, whose organs were all fucked up because of the fire that they set off themselves. Because
It's
of
not
the meth.
because of the fire. It's because she was cooking meth. That's what happens
Yeah.
when you cook meth for
No,
long enough.
They said
Yeah,
it was a
you're
mix. It was a
speaking on
mix of both.
experience.
It was the fire and also like the
I
chemicals.
like how
Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
spitting up blood, but they're like, she needs a new heart.
Yeah,
Well,
like,
not
her
much
fucking
more.
Would it
lungs.
That's so
not
much.
be cheaper to just hire a new cook?
And also the size of the
Yeah.
heart wouldn't necessarily. We'll get
Yeah,
into that.
yeah.
It doesn't make any fucking
Yeah,
sense.
Well,
Yeah.
like I said, we'll just talk about. Okay, so you see one of the game members, Raul. He gets conflicted. A blackout occurs. Norman kills most of them. And once again, I'll get into specific sequences after just this plot rundown. And Norman fights against Raylan. Norman blinds Raylan, and
Now you will
accidentally.
see what I see.
And then what's it called?
Raylan can magically locate him a few minutes later.
Yeah, Raylan accidentally also kills the mom, so it's pointless.
When you're blind, you get superpowers.
Yeah. And then what's it called? Eventually, and then Norman, you know, like I said, Norman gets stabbed in the back, dies. And Raylan also gets stabbed in the back from Terra / Phoenix / Terra, and dies, or we'll get stabbed in a bit. And Phoenix and Terra meets a bunch of kids and says, "My name is Phoenix," and that's the whole film. Not much plot. By the way, there's an after credit scene. Did you guys watch that?
I read about
no.
it. I wanted
is
to get
it?
the fuck
I
out
walked
of there.
out the second the
What's the
credits
after
rolled.
credit scene?
I like
The dog.
Once I found out, like, I just went. I literally timed it because I didn't want to watch the entire film, and I just used an ANC list, scanned it just so I could see like the after credit scene, and it's just like the dog sniffs Raylan, and they're potentially hinting at that he might be alive.
Yeah, like I guess his fingers move slightly.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I thought was going to happen at the end there, is that, like, I didn't think that she was going to stab him in the back. I thought that just the old guy was going to die, and then Raylan becomes the new blind asshole.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay, so now that we just did a brief rundown of the plot, which okay, so let's get into the whole idea of like oh gosh. It's just so problematic in the story.
That would be the word for it.
Can
Yeah.
I start with just a couple gripes
Yeah.
with this? The character motivations of like 90% of these characters were stupid as hell. Okay, so especially when they first break into the house, you know, it starts off with, you know, Terra Phoenix running around, and the first guy who sees her fucking puts a bullet right next to her head. It's like, oh yeah, you're gonna kill this person, right? This little girl. And then the next person tries to drown her, then electrocute her. It's like, they're fucking getting her for her heart. She needs to be alive for the heart transplant to happen. It's like,
it's bad consistency.
Fucking idiots. It's like they tried to do it so like you don't know what's going
Cruella
on,
de Vil
but
villains?
it doesn't work. It's stupid. Like you know, especially on a second viewing, people can't watch this more than once and have any
suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, any suspension of disbelief, because it's like, why are they doing that? You know, and the whole thing is, during like that first third of the film, they're trying to make you question, oh, are these guys the good guys or are these guys the bad guys? Up until the heart transplant thing, and they're obviously the fucking bad guys, like obviously the bad guys of this film.
They kill that woman.
Yeah,
that poor woman.
that woman.
Yeah.
And they kill a dog. Honestly, because I didn't see the first one.
They shoot at their own dog.
Yeah, because I hadn't seen the first one, I saw the old man, and I thought that I was very sympathetic towards him. He seemed like a guy who had done bad things in the past, but was trying to be better now. Yeah, and so I had sympathy for him, especially when he saved that other dog that was trying to kill him. But overall...
that scene where he doesn't kill the dog, I'm like, you could turkey baste or rape someone, but you can't kill a dog?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You could...
No, I think that's consistent with his morals. To be
I know.
honest. Yeah,
but
that's consistent with his character.
Brutally murders people in the first one.
Yeah, I know. I think like what's it called? He has a sauce. Like he has a certain code, right? And I give him that. They're good at consistently writing this character. He has very questionable morals, but he has a certain set of values that he doesn't betray. Like one which is not harming animals and stuff.
In my opinion, murdering dogs is worse than murdering people.
Well, he admits he
in my
is, though, in
opinion.
this one.
Yeah.
I agree.
But back to the character motivation thing. It's just these guys were idiots going in there. It made no sense, and it also made it so that in the film they were trying to do all these big reveals and stuff like that, and none of the reveals really paid off or were even reveals at all. And I thought that was just stupid that they were trying to write it in like, oh, you're supposed to be shocked here. And I literally saw people in the theater go when the whole heart transplant thing was going on, and I was like, dude, like they revealed that like half an hour ago in the movie.
Yeah.
That you know, they're organ harvesters.
Organs.
Like you could infer it. It was like
which really
super
made
obvious.
me question afterwards. And I'm like, well, were they harvesting organs and whose and why at this
So
point?
they do run a meth lab and also maybe
No, I mean they were just the only. Okay, well, to be fair, the news report just had the surgeon that was harvesting organ, not the criminals.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think the criminals were, which
I
wasn't
thought they were
communicated
like,
well.
there's some group out here that's like harvesting people's organs.
They were kind of hinting at that, but from what I at least based on the information they presented, the news report made it the surgeon was the one who harvested the organs, and Raylan and his posse
Just
were
cook
meth
meth.
labs.
Yeah,
And stuff
as
like
long
that.
as we're talking
It's
about
dumb.
this-
It's dumb. It's dumb. It's
It's
dumb.
Yeah, as long as we're talking about the stupid shit, like the idea of this little girl having a heart that's gonna somehow be
Replace.
good enough or replace this
just
the
hire a new
mom's
meth
heart.
cook.
Yeah.
It's I think that because he was trying to save her, right? That's
Yeah,
the
and also
thing.
He loved
he's a
her.
leader. He's a leader too. Yeah.
He loved her.
Another thing,
But
that-
it's like it's so stupid. They're trying to take her heart, and yeah, she's like coughing up blood and shit. She needs new lungs. She needs
Yeah.
more than that.
Everything.
another
Yeah.
thing that was really dumb is so they get the girl, they take her back to the place, right? And then they wait for her to wake up and be like, "Oh yeah, you're free to go if you want to." And
just done it then.
and then it's like, "Oh, will you give your mom your heart after she talks to her mom?"
Yeah, you want to die?
No, and it's like they don't even give her a chance to respond at that point. They just drug her and put her under. It's like, okay, so were you giving her the choice or were you
No.
not? Or why did
No.
you even
No,
like go through
I
all
think
this
that-
stuff of like talking to her and stuff if you were just gonna fucking harvest her heart?
Jason made a good point of wouldn't you want to get the fuck out if some creepy tiny lady
Yeah.
in a wheelchair started singing to you? I
Yeah,
know
she
that
was
it
at the
set up.
door and she was this woman
Oh, wait,
like in the shadows in a wheelchair.
I know
like,
it was set up. I know, but that's still creepy as fuck. And I sure as fuck would have been like, peace.
I think the door was locked anyway. She wasn't getting out.
No, she
but
wasn't.
She should have been like, "I'm getting the fuck out of here. This is
Yeah.
creepy as shit."
I'm going back to my creepy adopted dad.
Yeah.
Why even explain it to her? Why not just?
Maybe
What's
she
the
wanted to have one fine. Honestly, I think that was bad. I think that
No,
was bad. That's, just
that's
bad
what I'm
writing.
saying. It's like, why'd you even like make her think, oh yeah,
To explain to
you
the
were gonna
audience,
hang
of
out
course.
with your mom and dad now, and you
Yeah.
know, be nice to her and stuff. If you're just gonna fucking kill
Yeah,
her
they
and
should've
take her
just-
heart, it's dumb. It makes no sense.
They
It's
should have
like,
put her out like immediately.
Yeah.
and, like, what? You want to talk to this girl? Like, I guess they have no morals because they're cutting a heart out of a girl. But if you're gonna do that, you don't want to talk to the person. Like,
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
don't know if it's a weird sense of trying to talk
Real
before.
nuanced movie.
But it's that's the problem with this film. It's like, okay, so one of the great like screenwriting 101 is like your plot twist should always be made before you like what's it called before you set your general like, and your events are supposed to lead up to the plot twist, and your plot twists work because in retrospect of
yeah.
what's it called, it's your in terms of logos, there's no logical inconsistencies with the previous events setting up, right? And there's enough foreshadowing of the events, but these plot twists I very clearly were written like while they were writing without consideration of altering any of the previous events to make them consistent, because the first plot twist about the dad, right,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
So-
her being the dad,
And they always lead into the next act,
Yeah.
usually. So yeah, that set up the second act where like, oh, I'm your dad. Big reveal.
The
like,
second act
but
was
then-
like 5 minutes.
Yeah, but you know, the thing is that doesn't even make sense. That if okay, that was the dad, then right? Then how come you have what's his name? He's the big guy who I think was the only proper antagonistic force for the blind man, Duke, the really
Mhm.
big guy, right? Which honestly, what's it called? We'll get into physicality of actors, particularly Raylan. No fucking threat, by the way, to
Yeah,
No.
Stephen Ling. He's like this a chubby dad bod trying to fight against
he's kinda
Stephen
methy.
Link. Yeah, who's like super ripped. No sense of tension. Like I was talking to Ron about this, where like when he was fighting against Duke, that was actually a tense scene for the blind man, because it was an actual challenge. It looked like a challenge. Visually communicated the challenge through this Duke's muscles and his
Yeah.
overimposing stature, and he was winning the fight. With Raylan, he's supposed to be essentially the final antagonist, right? But he is the most scrawniest or most chubbiest or most out of shape guy out of all his
well,
posse.
the blonde guy was
The guy with
kind
the
of,
unfortunate haircut.
The blonde guy at
Yeah.
least looked creepy.
the guy
yeah,
with
he
Yeah.
looked creepy, but
with
he
the axe.
didn't seem like he was a
The-
threat.
No,
He,
he
he was
wasn't.
just
The-
kind of evil.
That guy
Yeah.
that guy looked like a cartoon character villain with his hair and everything.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
almost looks like a shitty custom character you make for a video game.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
That's like a Saints Row character.
yeah.
So
it's-
honestly, I think what happened here, relating it back to the other movie we just talked about, The Man from Nowhere,
Yeah.
it feels like what they did is they got a Microsoft Word version of that script for The Man from Nowhere, maybe an early version of the script, and then just like grabbed big chunks out of it and then put it into this movie because there's
honestly, it's
so
very
many
But
similar.
also,
times
this
where
is a
it's
very
like,
cliche
yeah.
story that's been told like 8 million times already.
No, but like literally, it wasn't just like the story.
organs,
It wasn't
that's
just
the
the
big
story.
one.
It was like a bunch of elements, like even death scenes and different fight scenes that happened. Really
Yeah.
felt a lot like The Man from Nowhere.
like it's fine to use tropes and stuff like that because at this point it's almost impossible to write a very original story. Even to write an original story, you use tropes or use what we call story conventions
Yeah.
to help your story. And it's understandable. There's 3-act structures and stuff like that, Sophocles, all that shit baked into narrative storytelling all the time. But it just has to be done well with like proper execution and stuff like that and whatever. And I don't think this one does. Yeah, it's like like we mentioned the plot twist of like the dad. Then why was what's his name Duke like trying to electrocute? Like it could have very much electrocuted the.
And
the
also,
girl.
okay, let's talk about this because this was stupid. When she's in the box and the guy puts a hose in there to fill it up with water to try to get her out. Dumb. She could have died. Nearly dies. But like when when the blind man is fighting Duke, she could have just like poked that hose away, and it was on there with a stupid little clamp. All she
Yeah.
had to do was move it.
Yeah,
Like stick your hand up there. You can fit your hand through there.
Yeah, I actually-
It's
I agree.
and even with the electrical wire, like she
Just-
could have.
Also, is that vault
Moved it.
specifically for her, just in case this happens?
I guess.
Yeah.
Is he
Hey,
just like the most prepared person ever?
But
Well,
it-
he is. He
yeah.
is. He
And
was
also-
first one.
One of the believable aspects I'll say about this movie or what the guy would do. Like, yeah, he would probably do something like that.
yeah, it makes sense. But like,
Get in the
she
vault.
was so useless in there. Like she could have done something. It really bothered me.
Oh,
And
another
they try to
thing that
establish make her useful, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's supposedly like super good at surviving.
her
Like,
character sucks.
Another thing that bothered me about that whole vault scene is at the end when it's filled with water and she's like half dead inside because she couldn't get the door open. And then finally, it's like he's finished off the other guy and he just tips it over and it opens up right away. It's like, what the
no,
fuck?
he
Like,
tips it over,
For the
and then
water.
the water's tipping out, and then he pulls it open.
yeah.
Like, how did you do that? Like, this is supposed to be keep people out, yet you managed to do this? I
Yeah,
don't know.
it makes
Yeah,
no
character
logical
consistency.
consistency whatsoever.
Yeah,
it's like,
He's either superhuman
Holy
or,
big.
no, he-
or Duke didn't try hard enough to open that shit up.
Yeah,
There's some superhuman. Oh, there are some superhuman elements of this. We'll get into that after the burning stuff. But yeah, it's just bad. Yeah, well, like fucking killing and stuff like that. Oh, and let's talk about the scene where he does like have one sequence where I guess he glues Jared's mouth.
Oh god.
Which was,
Why,
I guess,
why didn't he just kill the guy?
I don't know, but that was maybe my favorite moment.
yeah.
I was like, oh, that's fucked up. This reminds me of the first movie.
Yeah.
Where he just
I-
put the shit on his face and he was like, he can't breathe.
Yeah, I get that. The thing that pissed me off,
Don't
the thing that
breathe.
pissed me off about that is instead of like his brother goes and like gets a screwdriver, I'm like, oh, he's gonna poke a hole in his nostrils.
No,
He pokes a hole in his cheek. So he
yeah,
can
yeah. He gets
breathe through his cheek.
it's a crowbar. He just like slides through his cheek.
Yeah, it doesn't
That'll
make
get
sense.
you an infection.
Like, poke a hole in his nose.
I
There's so
also
much
don't
other
get why
reasons.
doesn't Blind Man just kill him at that point? Like,
I don't know.
He probably could have. He probably should have.
He just wanted to be creative. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's an art form. Killing is an
problem-
art form to him.
He
a
was
problem
trying to
with
put
both
fear
these
into
movies.
those guys.
This goes to the first one. I hate to be the horror guy that's like, why would you do that? Like, that's such an easy criticism. This is a criticism of both Don't Breathe 1 and Don't Breathe 2. There are so many moments where I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Like, there's
I think
so
way
many...
more so in this.
Yeah,
one.
way more
more
so in this
too.
one. But there are so many moments where I'm like, just kill this person. You're done. Like, there are so many moments where a character should just kill their enemy and then you're
Wait,
good.
Which scene in the first one? I'm curious. Yeah.
When they like kind of get out of the rape dungeon thing, she like gets him like kind of stuck, but like that's not gonna hold him, right? Like you have a crowbar. I mean, I don't think I could do it because I can't kill people, but like beat the fuck out of him. He's gonna get out of that in like 2 seconds, and then like when they're trying to escape from the first one, they're still looking over their shoulders because they fucking know that that's a very real possibility. Just fucking kill him. And then in this one, same thing. Like, why glue that guy's mouth shut? That's just an extra body that you have to take on now.
I agree with you on Don't Breathe too. That gluing stuff was stupid. It probably should have just been killed. It was cool, like I'll be honest, but I disagree with you on the first one because they established that they were way over their heads. They never murdered someone before.
Yeah.
And what's it called? And they very much believed that he was buying their silence. You know what I mean? He was buying.
If you
their silence in the
handcuffed
movie.
someone to a pole, wouldn't you think he would be there for
Yeah.
a longer time?
If this guy was,
I
this
think it'd be
cra-
stupider for them to assume he's getting out right now.
Yeah.
Like that wouldn't make sense to me.
And also they thought like, okay, so basically they assumed. Remember they were saying he's buying our silence.
Yeah.
Right? Like and stuff
They
like
thought
that.
it was over.
Yeah. So no, I disagree with you on that one. Okay. I do agree in the first movie there were some elements, but that's not the one. Yeah, I don't know. This one was also like, yeah, this didn't make sense. Also, like the same guy. What's his name? Is it Jim Bob or something?
Jim Bob?
Yeah, that's his name. That's his name. I think
As
his
bad
name,
as Aaron Dan.
I think his name is Jim Bob, like the blonde dude. Like you know when he grabbed the
Jim Bob.
guy's neck and stuff, like from behind. Why didn't he just like he did some crazy shit in the first film? Like I'm surprised that Jim Bob survived considering how scrawny he was. And then his neck snapped. Yeah, there's a lot of things like that. Yeah, and then you know, the fight that was probably my favorite scene. One of my favorite scenes, the fight against the Duke. Like I
Jim
said,
Bob.
that was actually like imposing somewhat.
Probably.
Yeah, and then actually had some threat. Not saying I was sympathetic towards a rapist, murderer guy or something like that.
Yeah,
But
I mean, you're watching the movie. It was definitely the best fight in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
movie.
But
I just hated the fact that
But how do you-
whatever was going on with the girl was going on. I'm just like,
yeah, I actually think
fucking stop that shit.
who what's her name? Madeline Grace. I think she sucks. As this character, I don't know if it's because of the script or she's bad. But I mean, I haven't seen. She doesn't have too many acting credits besides this one or especially major films. This might be a major film debut actually. Yeah, I think because the
I
dialogue.
didn't mind her. I just hated her character.
Yeah.
I'm always more lenient on kids. I'm not like
I'm
that
not.
guy who's just like, yeah, well, kids have to act good. Like, and it's like they're fucking kids. Relax.
I'm sorry. I'm so mean on kid actors. Oh god, I hate kid actors so much. It's like after seeing everything
She was
Michael.
fine.
No, after
Yeah, she
seeing
was fine.
Everything,
was good enough for me.
She
Everything
was functional.
Steven Spielberg has directed with kid actors. Everything, even J.J. Abrams, who I think is a bad director, with Super 8, and then Michael Haneke with White Ribbon and like what's it called? His new film with like iPhone recording. They know how to first know how to find good kid actors, and also know how to direct them well to have natural performances.
Yeah, you named 3 people who can do that. Like,
Yeah.
relax.
No, there's more. Usually European, just I don't know. Americans are very bad at that. Actually, Korean directors too. Even the little girl in Man from Nowhere just recently much more believable performance. Yeah, I like I said, it might not even be her fault. It might just be the director's fault. It's just like, who's this?
Okay, I won't blame her for a bad performance until she's like an adult
Yeah.
and like, you know.
Yeah. So far, she's 0 for 1.
Then we'll bully her off Twitter.
Yeah. What's it called? So
That's if she's in a Star
Keep
Wars
going,
movie.
Phoenix. You can do it.
yeah. So like after
Phoenix.
Madeline Grace.
After Norman like escapes, like he fucking has super hearing abilities, and from like I don't know how long the distance was from the house to Hernandez's car, but he's able to hear the bell chimes. Remember?
No.
Remember after he
Yeah.
escaped with the dog?
That's how he tracks it
Yeah,
down.
that's how he.
Yeah.
That's how he
No,
I
he,
thought the dog
he tracked
just
him down
tracks
because the
him.
dog
Yeah.
took
No,
him.
no,
No.
no, no. I'm not talking about I'm talking about how he found Hernandez's car.
Oh.
Yeah, and then remember, like he touched her face and he started crying because he
Yeah,
died and
yeah,
stuff. And then like someone was like, "Shut up, dog! Shut up! I could hear this from 3 miles away."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
See-
was like, "What the fuck?"
See, I'll say like, okay, I think her character was so underutilized.
Yeah.
Like she was like an ex-military person, whatever. She kind of has a complicated past. I thought that they were going to go through the route like they were going to team up to go after them,
Yeah.
which I think would have worked way better because
she would confront him morally about what he did. In the first film.
Absolutely, right? She
Yeah.
would have been like, wait, what happened? You fucking kidnapped this kid? You know, like, but she's like, okay, we'll deal with that later. But like right now, we just have to get this kid back from these, you know,
Yeah.
organ harvesting assholes. And then like, I don't know, have then him ultimately die, but like have someone there that you can root for pretty much like just without having to worry about having to root for this fucking dude, and just have her there. And then I don't know. Then she could have died maybe, or maybe she survives and takes a kid. I don't know.
Yeah,
whatever.
that would have been cool.
Yeah, that would have been a better.
But like,
idea.
just use her more. Like, have her there. Yeah, to be like that kind of
Yeah.
a little bit more of a foil to him. To just be like, wow, you are kind of fucked up. Like, you're really fucked up.
Yeah.
And then him deal with that. Like, she confesses, or he
It also
confesses
probably
to
makes
her.
more believable sense in how a blind man could, attack all these really buff dudes. It's not never mind, one buff dude.
Yeah,
and-
she's basically
And then a
like,
bunch of
okay,
methods.
yeah, I know you're obviously very, skilled or whatever, but we're about to go into some place you're completely unfamiliar with to go track down these people. We have no idea where they really are. Let's work together on this, But they didn't do that. They just killed her for no reason.
Yeah, it was bad, and like that plot twist just kind of ruins the idea of them trying to make Raylan sympathetic. Because at the point when he revealed that, I'm like, well, you're still an asshole. I wouldn't leave you with the kid because you just killed an innocent lady.
Would you leave the blind
Yeah.
man with the kid?
Honestly, more than Raylan. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll say this about Raylan. Not saying excusing what he
Yeah,
did was
one
good
was
man.
actually raising her, and the other was trying to cut her
Yeah.
heart out.
and then look about this. Like it's the thing is like he has. Look, Norman Nordstrom, yes, a terrible guy and stuff like that. I definitely think like his war experiences and the tragedy experience has warped his character, but his set of values is never to what's it called. Essentially, like he'll probably never rape or harm the girl. I still think he's a bad dad, right? Then it's like, but in
What a
comparison to
standard.
the
He'll
bad dad-
probably never.
yeah, and then
I
he's-
want another daughter.
and then his character motivation, which at least based on the film, is to protect and raise the girl for for the outside world and stuff like that. I still don't think he's the best guardian. She probably should have been social services or whatever. But yeah, it's
Or not
Give
with
me all
social
your
services. I'm blanking on the lady's name again.
Like Rodriguez. or
Yeah,
something.
Rodriguez. She should have ended
Hernandez.
up.
Hernandez.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Rachel Rodriguez. Wait, what? She's in this film?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
she should have ended up like living with Hernandez. Hernandez should have survived the whole thing.
Yes,
Come back maybe
yeah.
when the building
You
was
see, a
burning
good movie
down.
would've done that.
Like, she sees the building burning down. Maybe
Yeah.
she lives like close by or something.
Yeah.
Comes back, is like, what the hell happened? And
Yeah.
then
Did you
ends
blank
up
out on
going
Ron's
back.
entire last point?
No, but
okay.
I'm just saying that I'm agreeing with Ron there on this last point. But
All-
then at the end, it basically he should have died, and then Hernandez should have
I was-
taken her and raised her.
I would have been okay if
And
like
she
as a
rises like the phoenix.
yeah, I was not to say redemptive arc, but at least like some on path to redemption. If if he didn't die, like he went to prison, right? Like he confessed his crimes, right? Like he mentioned like the things he did to these characters and stuff like that. But like all these extra things, and like just to kind of wrap this up a bit, yeah, the second plot twist also kind of ruins the film. Like when Jason said, I agree, because you potentially set up an interesting thematic battle between birth versus adopted parents, nature nurture, blah blah blah, and the idea of like who's the true antagonist is like, well, they're the birth parents, they might not be capable, but then again they're the birth parents, but you have this adopted guy who feels some sort of belonging, but based on his past and
Philip.
history is not good. But because you set up the plot twist that they're harvesting her organs, immediately whatever potential sympathy they have or complexity to this final battle between two essentially antagonists is dissolved, and now you get like, then obviously you're rooting for the blind guy, because at least with the blind guy the Terra Phoenix will survive. What?
That would have been nuanced.
Yeah. What's it called? It's like I said, I don't think I've ever read or seen anything from Rodo or Fede Alvarez that's nuanced. They're entertaining. They're
Yeah.
well shot. I'll give it this. Okay, let's positive. Well shot. The lights. The one scene, by the way, I still think that was stupid in retrospect. The blue light with the guy in water and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, why wouldn't they just shoot? They
Yeah.
know how capable the blind guy is.
Why is he laying there anyway? Why was that his move?
That's what he does. He was just playing
He-
dead.
I think that was fine because he does lay there and he feels the movement in the water.
No, I understand
he
why-
can hear them.
No,
if
I
they're
understand
walking
why
in,
he
like-
did that, but I don't understand why the
They
gangsters
trusted
just
it.
They just didn't shoot.
Well, they
But
don't
then again,
really
they're
know
stupid.
everything about him.
That's dumb.
Yeah. What's it called? Okay, so like I said, it's a lot of things happen. I also give props to the final sequence, not for the actual like what happens and stuff, but it looks pretty cool with like you kind of get like tungsten lights and everything and the set.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that last place looked really dope with like.
I thought it was. Sorry.
No, like the orange lights coming in through the windows that the guy shoots out, and then with like the blue. I was like, oh, that looks really cool.
Yeah, like there's what's it called? There's a lot of effort put into at least the technical aspects, so I give him that.
Yeah, it
It's
still
not a
looks
car
really
for me.
good.
Yeah, and then I don't, performances other than Stephen Lang, I thought were pretty shitty. Stephen Lang was good. Yeah, and then was it necessary? No, I appreciate the attempt, but a lot of things wrong. Probably. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so let's just get into final thoughts and opinion. Let's start off with you, Blake.
It's a dumb sequel. Shouldn't have been made. Hard to root for the character. Fundamentally, could have been a different movie entirely, which would have worked. Maybe if he was the villain, that could have worked. What if Raylan and his gang were in the right? And like at first, the daughter's like, "Oh no, bad guys," but then they're like, "No, I'm your father. I'm trying to save you." And then it's kind of switched. Maybe that could have worked. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
he just fucking steals a kid.
yeah, why try to make him a good guy when you have done everything possible?
Because I understand why they, but like
It's impossible to get over
it's
it.
impossible.
It's
It's
impossible,
impossible
yeah.
to do because he was
Like the worst person ever alive.
no, but
No,
also
I've
he was
seen-
the big selling point of the first movie was
Yeah.
his performance, how good he was. So they needed him back, and they tried to make him good, and they can't do that. You can't do it. You can't do it.
So
Should have made him so evil in the first movie. Sorry.
it's just a dumb sequel that shouldn't have been made. So I don't know, shit bucket, I guess.
I'm not sure I would put this in the shit bucket.
I think it's too well made to make it in the shit bucket.
It's but
Same.
the reason I'm putting it in the shit bucket isn't that. It's just like I put things in the shit bucket that to me are like, why the fuck does this exist? Like this. Why make a sequel if it's so hard to do it? Like, it's
No,
not natural.
like I
It's
said,
not.
There is a great film underneath this, right? Like, and look, there's been much there's a movie called Perfume where a guy like basically kills females to get their essence, and he does like 18 of them, and that kind of works as German stuff. Like, it's possible to make really despicable characters or protagonists, and
Yeah, no, it's
it's not
possible,
possible.
but this was a complete and utter failure.
yeah,
yeah.
I don't know whatever, but
hey,
yeah.
I want to put it in the shit bucket. It's a bargain bin for me, I guess. There wasn't a whole lot to enjoy about this movie. I laughed at times. I was very annoyed at other times. I didn't like the ending when she when all the little kids are gathered around. They're like, "What's your name?" And she's like, "Phoenix."
Ray Skywalker.
Yeah, I was expecting her to say Phoenix Skywalker. But yeah, it was overall it was bad, but I like Stephen Lang's performance, and there was a good fight sequence, so I'll give it bargain bin.
Yeah, same. I like Stephen Lang in it. I think he was shot pretty well. Like most of the action was done interestingly, and I don't know. It could have been a lot worse than it was. It seems like they try to put some effort into it. So that's pretty much the only thing keeping it out of the shit bucket. I would say, yeah, similar bargain bin. I don't want to buy it ever.
Yeah.
But like, if it's like, yeah,
Direct,
just,
yeah.
it's just, yeah, dude, don't.
I'll never watch it again.
Yeah, I also put this in the bargain bin just to keep it nice. Sure, I agree there was Stephen Lang was great. Cinematography is the only thing really keeping it above. Stephen Lang.
Yeah, the cinematography was good.
Yeah, and
I agree, it
yeah,
looks
and
good.
it's bargain bin for me. What about you, Miles? You're shaking your hand.
Oh,
you're
yeah.
greedy. Your
It's-
beard is extending. Tell us why.
This is 100% in the shit bucket for
Yeah.
me. I think that even though cinematically it looked nice, there was no redeeming value to this movie. I think that they wasted cinematography on this movie, unfortunately. I think that
We only have a short amount of cinematography.
It's running out.
no, but like the cinematography looked really nice, and I think that the person who did it should have been working on a different film instead of doing this piece of trash, because it was just a bad movie, poorly written. I mean, it feels like they just went through the first rough draft and then got greenlit on it and went out and made it. Didn't know what the fuck they were doing. It was just trash. They could have made a good movie.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that puts a movie into the shit bucket for me. One of the major things, and not into like the bargain bin, where it's not they were doing the best that they could. Because, I mean, even in this room of 5 people right here, we have all had areas where we're like, yeah, it could have been a better movie if they went in this direction with it. The problem with this movie was they didn't go in a good direction with it, and it could have been a good movie. And because of that, that's where I draw the line, where it's like they screwed up. They ruined the ability for this to be a good movie by how they did it. And that's just a big problem for me. Personally, I think what would have worked better for this movie is if the old man had died in the first act and they had done better survival training for Phoenix, you know, and then it ends up being Phoenix going after these guys to avenge him. She doesn't know what he's done. She might find out throughout, you know, the course of the film, and then have to come to terms with, oh crap, I'm avenging an evil bastard. But
Possibly,
it would have worked better, I think.
Possibly, but with a better child actress.
Yeah, well, definitely with a better child actress.
John Krasinski.
And you know, then
Yeah, John Krasinski would have been a better Phoenix.
Yeah.
but thematically it could have, you know, fulfilled the whole don't breathe thing, because if they had given her better survival training, then she might have picked up on some of the like little tricks that he has to see in the dark and to be able to hear really well, track people down. So doing more of like what he was doing in the first film, where he was going into, you know, dark rooms and being able to track people because he was blind. So, you know, able to beat people in darkness who weren't used to being blind. So I just think that could have made it a better movie. I know this is a long-winded explanation, but yeah, definitely in the shit bucket though.
Okay, what's it called? Tell us, you guys, if you guys whether you agree with our bargain bin or Miles and Blake's shit bucket rating.
One last thing I want to throw in: the scene where the mom is like handcuffed to the girl and the wheelchair starts falling off the cliff thing was hilarious.
Yeah.
I laughed out loud.
People gave me bad stares when I laughed at that.
It was hilarious.
It was.
All right, and I think that
wraps it up.
That wraps it up.
Okay, well, thank you guys for listening, and stay tuned for the next episode of Half a Clue. Bye, and stay filthy.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.